Hey y'all, this video needs no introduction. You know what time it is. I'm here, you're here, our manager is here, the wheel is on the other screen over there, and it is time for another 100-year RNGesus Zoo. As long as my computer can handle it, that is. And let me just pause to say thank you. I can't believe how much this channel has grown since I have pivoted from Sims content and started making Planet Zoo content for this channel instead. I've always liked Planet Zoo more than Sims anyways. I am just absolutely blown away. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely crazy. The beginning of this year, I wrote in my planner that my 2026 goal for this channel was to hit 10,000 subs, and you guys are smashing that goal completely out of the water by February. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. You guys are really the best. But enough mushy gushy stuff. Let's go blow the dust off this wheel, shall we? Our continent and biome is going to be tropical Europe. Oh, wait. Europe isn't tropical. I don't think that's a choice anyways, so maybe let's just roll again. And Asia. Okay, I can roll with that. Tropical Asia. And I'm going to actually roll to see if we're building on flats or sculpted. Ooh, I'm nervous. Oh my god, sculpted. Oh no. Okay, now I'm sweating. I'm nervous for sure. But we're here for a challenge. I'm going to rename this zoo the Menagerie of Mayhem 2, but of course the 2 won't fit, so I'm just going to use abbreviations. Mom 2. And let's go take a look at this map. Oh man. Oh, I mean, okay, I can work with this. It's not too bad. I've definitely seen worse sculpted maps, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh my god. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at school? I'm kidding. He is actually at school, but he's going to overlook the entire zoo build this time. You know, he's at school when I film, but maybe before the zoo is over, we can get him in here to say a little something, right? Although he's going to be completely biased now because he knows that I make funny edits of him, so we'll just have to take what he says with a grain of salt. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the entire entranceway to the center of the map. That's right, the center of the map, which it looks to be around here-ish. And after it is moved, I'm going to throw up the heat map, which is the hotkey H if you didn't know. And then I'm going to use the terrain paint and paint around the whole circle of free electricity that we get to work with here. And as always, the first thing we need will be the staff compound, and using the entrance, I'm going to build the staff compound right into the back of this building that is already here. I'm just going to extend the roof a little bit. I'm going to be using the larger buildings to make sure I have room for the footprint, but I will be switching these out for the smaller ones to start with because money. One day we'll upgrade them, I promise. Staff room, keeper hut, quarantine, vet surgery, research center, and trade center, all the fine things we need. And I do realize that I forgot the trade center, but don't worry, I will put one in, don't worry. And as you can see, staff buildings are expensive. Oh my gosh, we've already blown through like half of our money. So we will need to be cautious with our first build and hope we don't get lions. Pray for me while I mess with the path for about 30 minutes to get this right. If it doesn't work the first time, delete it and try again. And again. And again. And you will get something that works eventually, even if it isn't quite what you wanted to begin with. Let's hire some friends who now need to dedicate their entire lives to my zoo. They're not allowed to go home. No PTO for you. And let's change their fits to encourage them to stay, huh? Look how pretty they are! Of course, they're going to split off into 2 separate directions, so it makes it impossible to get shots. Guys, wait. Didn't I change the vet? This is unacceptable. Hang on, I need to change the vet. Let's type in some hex codes here and make this our new watermelon healer. Look how beautiful. Watermelon. Do you guys change your staff uniforms? Do you make them all match? Let me know. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and roll this wheel. 158 animals still need homes. Our last zoo started having crashing problems after 40 species, so I think I'm going to try and take this a little slower and do at least 10 animals per quarter. We might do more, we're just gonna have to see. And our first animal is going to be the North American beaver. Oh, perfect. Small animals are always the best to start with. And the themes that we're going to be using is Planet Zoo and New World. No complaints here. I love them. I have so many ideas, but no money in the bank. So we're gonna start small, Panda. Start small. I really need to do a sandbox series with unlimited money. I'm just saying. The first thing I'm going to do is make water. We need lots of water for our little beavers. I started with the terrain stamp to get the basic start of the pool, and then I used the flats into foundation for the shape. I want to keep this part kind of in the middle. I think this is where I'm going to build their dam? damn den? I don't know. Also, it is early in the morning and my stress level is low, so let's try and make underwater viewing areas, because why not? First, I tried to use the slope terrain stamp to make an area for the path to go, but that just doesn't work how I want it to work, so I'm going to flatten the surface, make a cutout here for the guests to come down so they can see them swimming around down here. It's messy, it's gonna be messy before it looks nice, okay? I promise, just go with it, don't panic. For the barrier, I'm going to be using the watertight in-game barrier to keep the water where I want it. Building construction pieces are not watertight, keep that in mind. If you want water to stay where you need it, you need to use the terrain or the watertight in-game barriers. And don't worry, it still won't work. Here we go again. What is wrong? Okay, maybe just give me a second to troubleshoot this, okay? We love water. Yay! Why do I do this to myself?
One eternity later.
I did it! We good, fam? We good. I changed it to the higher grade for the watertight glass barrier. I don't know if that's what the problem was, but it worked and I'm not questioning it. Now for the path, I'm going to place a few pieces down in the viewing area so the guests can come down here. And as you can see, if you place it all the way up this air quote ramp, you can see that it is horrible. It's bumpy, it's yucky, no one likes it. So here's another technique that we can use. Place your path at the bottom of your ramp, and then place your piece at your top of your ramp. Then click the flatten to terrain button off to the side. Now try and connect both of your path pieces. If it is close enough, it should auto-connect. And then you click it, and then just look how much more smooth that turned out. Now let's do that on the other side. For the custom fence, I'm going to be using a breeze block base, the glass modern wall panel, the New World sign support single, and 2 Planet Zoo planks thin. And that is our custom fence for the beavers. Simple and easy. Don't forget to select everything and merge it into a group. Now that it is merged, it makes it really easy to just hit Control D to duplicate it, and that combined with using Z to rotate, you can now place the fence along the water's edge. And this is what the habitat is looking like with the fence installed. Now for the beaver house, I want to make a place for the beavers to hide and eat their food since the keepers won't have much access to the actual habitat, and for a place for the guests to come in and get an inside look at their dam den. Probably not the proper term for that, but it makes me chuckle when I say it, so I'm going to keep saying it. Let me have my fun. When the guests leave this viewing area, they will be able to also peep in on the beavers sleeping in their eating area as they head out. And this is what the habitat is looking like so far. Now I need to make sure to put some glass in here for the guests. I wish that there was one-way glass in the curve like this. I would like that a lot. Then I'm going to add the PVC strips for the door for the beavers to enter their habitat from their eating and sleeping area. And I cannot forget to add glass to these little windows as well. Then I'm going to add a fake staff door that the staff will just phase through, don't worry. And I will end up hating it for the rest of the playthrough because I cannot easily click on the habitat door that way, which makes it really hard for selling beavers from here. Love the way it looks, hate the functionality of it though. On this side over here, I'm going to add a nice waterfall. I'm going to be using a few of the biggest waterfall boxes at different heights, including some of the smaller ones and another larger one just at the top. And even though we're in the free electricity, I don't think we have free water treatment in this area, so I'm going to have to make sure that I add a water treatment and a temperature regulator. Not actually sure if I need the temp one, but I'm going to build it just in case. Random snowstorms could happen, who knows. And I'm going to use the sentry plant trick to fan out 10 of them to help with the negative radius for the guests, because somehow, even though they can't see it, they can sense it. If you guys go to a zoo, does seeing backstage items and staff rooms and stuff make you mad? I mean, personally, I find it interesting. I would love to see the keepers prepare food personally. This habitat is looking pretty bare, but I'm quickly running out of money, so it is time to take a nice play break. But I can't take a play break without animals, so let's maybe get some. Manager Googly-Eyed Bison, how I have missed you. Did you miss me too?
No! God, please, no! No!
Oh, you always say the nicest things about me. I hope no one is expecting a raise anytime soon. Y'all are being paid minimum wage forever. After putting the beavers in their habitat, it's actually looking pretty good. Just needs a little bit of a terrain paint tweaking. And just look at the guests lining up to see our one and only new resident species. I don't think my educator knows exactly what animal he's talking about. Here, my guy, let me maybe help you out a bit there. Beavers are basically nature's construction crew. They build dams to slow water down and raise water levels. The deep water levels keep the entrance of their lodging underwater, which makes it safer from predators. And those big front teeth never stop growing, so they need to chew constantly to keep them worn down. Beavers are also surprisingly family-oriented. A lodge is usually an adult pair, their babies, and sometimes older siblings from last year to help out. And beavers don't just help themselves. When they make ponds and wetlands, it creates habitats for tons of other animals like birds, frogs, fish. It can even hold water in the landscape longer during dry periods. Now we need to roll again before we go completely bankrupt. Oh, and look at that! It's the
Quokka.
Quokka! It sounds almost like Waka from Final Fantasy X. I'm here for it. And for themes, we are rolling Zookeeper and Conservation. Oh, I like that. Now our beaver habitat is looking pretty good, pretty barren, but that's okay. We're going to need to try to build up some funds with the next animal that we just rolled. And these little guys, oh my god, they're so cute. Look at their little faces. They do have interspecies enrichment with wallabies and red kangaroos, so I am going to kind of make their habitat a little bit bigger, not only because humans are able to go inside the habitat, and I'm going to make it like part of a nature trail, but also because if we roll one of these other species, I would love to put them in there too. So this spot over here is what I'm kind of thinking. I want the people to be able to go up this hill up here and be able to have a bit of a lookout maybe up here. I want to play with the terrain since we are on a sculpted map after all, so we need to utilize it. For the barrier, I'm going to be using just 2 pieces, the slat cladding curved and the zookeeper metal pole. It's going to be a very simple fence. And since it is curved, I want to make sure that we angle our pole just a little bit so that way it kind of goes with the curvature of the cladding. It needs to look like it's actually anchored into the center of it after all. And don't forget to merge all of that together. And now that it is merged together, we're going to use Control D to duplicate it, and we're going to also use that with Z just like we did before to give ourselves our freedom of rotation. We're going to go ahead and place the fence on the end here, and we're going to start laying out a bit of a shell. I'm thinking this is going to maybe turn into maybe the restaurant? Maybe the gift shop? We're going to show you if we're going to attach the gift shop maybe to this area. And then you have to walk through the gift shop in order to get into the walkthrough habitat. That would be cool. But I don't have near enough funds to start that project yet, so let's just chill out for a minute. Stepping back, this is what our habitat is looking like so far. Now I'm going to align to the grid so that way I can keep blocking out a central pathway. I want this main artery path to be kind of big because in the end of our last menagerie zoo, everything was getting really crowded, especially at the front where the gate was. So I want to leave this main thoroughfare pretty wide. I have to stop here for a moment because our beavers are about to have a baby, and we just have to look at the baby. Oh my gosh, I love the baby so much. Oh look, there's 2. Oh my gosh, look how chunky they are. There's 3. Oh my god, they're so adorable. Oh my god. The babies are the cutest thing. Look at how, look how cute and chunky. I love a chunky monkey. I know it's a beaver. Okay, I know. With our very plain Jane habitat, we're going to go ahead and place our Quokka inside the habitat as well as start generating some guests because we're in need of it very quickly. I'm going to mess with the terrain paint just a little bit after placing them because yikes, that is the one thing that they're not very happy with, as per usual. Also, you can see that the temperature is not quite right for them, so we're going to sink a cooler down in here, but we're not going to cool it to be super cold with snow or anything, just like 75-80 degrees. I think that would be perfect for these little guys. Now that I am sitting here people watching, nobody's actually walking around and going through the door to get into the habitat. They're just standing here and kind of blinking into the habitat and then just like blinking right back out of it. That is so weird. Is it because I didn't place 2 guest habitat gates? I didn't think I needed 2 of them, but maybe I do. I don't know. They're just like weirdly blinking in this corner, which is a little upsetting because I don't know if this corner is going to stay here. Oh well, it's really weird. It's a weird phenomenon. Guests blink around here, okay? So weird. Now that we've waited about a year, we have a little bit of funds built up and it is time to do some nice fancy transitions for our beaver habitat. And this is what it is looking like before, and maybe let's just snap our fingers or something. And here's what it's looking like after. It is a beautiful glow up. Oh my gosh. so many dead trees around, but that's okay. I could have added so many more. But I was like, no, Panda, we do not want to run into issues with the game starting to crash before we even get to year 50. So I kind of tapered myself back a little bit. But I really like the way that this habitat is starting to look. And who knows, I might still go back in here and make even more of a mess of it. We'll never know, right? I do really like all of these trees leaned up against the waterfall and how that all turned out. I think it looks really nice. And I do have this fun little archway for the beavers to go in and out of the sleeping area and eating area. I wanted to try and cover some of the man-made building, but I mean, I did the best here. We do have a custom habitat sign, and of course the little area where you can go and peep into their den, their jam den, which didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to do, but I tried, and that's all that matters. You know, the first damn den we make isn't going to be the best. The second one either. The third one maybe. But you just gotta keep trying and try again. Don't give up. And that is our beaver habitat. I think it is looking much better than it did. It is now time for our Quokka trail to get a nice glow up too. So here is a shot of the before and after. Our nice little nature trail is now done and ready for all of the guests. Look at all the guests just swarming in there, ready to see some cuties. I can't wait until we get some wallabies in here. I hope I get wallabies. I love wallabies. Red kangaroos too. You know what? I'm not biased. I love both of them. I did add lots of flowers and stuff up at the front so that way we're not blocking too much of the guest view. I do have this gate, but I swear nobody uses it. I have seen them come down here and squirt the hand sanitizer, but that's about it. I have this tiny little getaway here for the Quokka to come in and hide, and the people cannot go in there unless your kid decides to crawl in there, and you know what? That's on them. Make sure you sign the waiver before you come in here, okay? I do have this custom cute little habitat sign made by this creator here, which is so adorable. And then if you keep walking around, I did make kind of a faux path with the dirt for the guests to walk on, but of course they don't. And that's okay. If you come up here, you'll be able to actually watch the Quokka get their food. And I even have a couple of benches up here, but I don't know if guests will sit down inside of a habitat. But we're pretending here, okay? We're pretending. It turned out amazing, and look, I even made a cute little waterfall. I love it. It's adorable. Quokkas are basically tiny, round kangaroo cousins from Western Australia. The one everyone calls the happiest animal because it always looks like they're smiling. Photogenic little beans with no fear of humans. They're mostly active at night, and they're built for surviving those dry stretches. If water's scarce, then they get a lot of the water that they need from the plants that they eat. And Here is a wild fact for you, okay? That internet rumor about them throwing their babies at predators is kind of real, just not in the way people think. They don't yeet their babies like a football at a fox. But if a mom is being chased, they can relax their pouch muscles and the joey drops out. The baby makes noises and distracts the predator for a moment, and the mom uses that moment to get away. Ugh, brutal. But it's a survival strategy, I guess. She'll live to breed another day. And the next spin of the wheel says, the Fennec Fox. We're getting some amazing rolls for the beginning of the zoo. Wow. We're getting little dudes, and that is so perfect for when you're starting a zoo, little dudes that don't eat a lot. And our themes for this is going to be classic and East Asia. Okay, I mean, like a desert sort of fox guy, but whatever, we're gonna make it work. Now, I saw a Fennec Fox habitat on the workshop by this creator here, and it was very similar to what I'm going to try and build here. I don't want to take it off the workshop and just plop it down. I want to try and make something very similar to what I saw, but I'm sure theirs is way better than mine. But this is how we learn. I only saw it for like half a second, so we're going to go off of my memory, which is full of Swiss cheese, so wish me luck. I'm going to be using the limestone pieces to make kind of a slope in the back, and this will be where most of our rock work is going to be, in the back here. And then I'm going to put a door back here because it's also where the keepers are going to be entering into the habitat. But I'm actually going to widen this out just a little bit. That way, if I do put rocks back here, they're not just chucking them right inside of the rocks. I'm going to throw in the keeper door and add the null barrier all the way around the entire square. And then I'm going to drag the whole thing a little bit closer to the path. And I actually end up moving it just a little bit more before we're all said and done because it's still not as close to the path as I would like it to be. For the roof, I'm going to use some log pieces to put on the corners and in the middle of the limestone wall. And then I'm going to have those go all the way down onto the corner pieces of the limestone sides. And then I'm going to stretch out some of these plank pieces across across the whole thing. And I'm going to need to just straighten these out just a wee bit because they're not quite straight. I'm going to highlight all of them and hit Control X to duplicate themselves, but also put myself in advanced movement so that way I could drag them down across the entire length of this, attaching them to the logs at all the corners. I am going to then highlight it again and hit Control X to again duplicate it, throw myself in advanced movement mode, and make sure that my angle snap is on so that way I can rotate these 90 degrees, and then I'm going to lay them out in this direction now too for a little bit of support. That will create the entirety of the roof. Now for the front part, I want to have a little bit of a quarter wall and some glass for the viewing locations for the guests, and this is where I see that it doesn't quite line up with the path as nicely as I would like it to, and so then I move it closer to be more center with the path. And what I'm going to add is these glass archways for viewing ports. I'm also going to be leaving these 2 blank spots with full walls so that way we can have a place for our education to go and it doesn't block the viewing area. Now I'm going to start trying to attempt to mess with the rocks, and I'm going to use the aquatic faux rock from the aquatic pack. These rocks are literally the best thing that has ever happened to the game, I swear. I'm going to be using a different flat type rocks also to cover part of the back wall just to make it a little bit more like an alcove for the foxes to go and hide in during the day. Now I understand the viewing in this little box is actually really difficult. It was actually really difficult to build into. I should not have built the roof until I was done building the inside. I swear that was a mistake and a lesson that shall be learned. But this is going to be our before shot of the habitats, and I know it's kind of squishy and kind of hard to see in there, but I do apologize. Here's what it looks like after. We got more rocks, we got some little plant life going on in there, little cactuses, and here, let's go in and get a little bit of a better look without clipping too much into the walls and stuff. I did add the habitat enrichment items to this area to help out too. We got a sprinkler, there's a little bubbly thing, some different food enrichments in there. And now that I'm done building in here, I'm going to actually use a mesh, which I know is not part of the theme, but mesh and glass do not count, okay? I'm going to line the entire thing with mesh for the rest of the barrier wall. I'm going to add a keeper hut to help cut down on traffic time for walking for that yummy food delivery. And then right up front is where I'm going to be adding the education for the guests to see while they're walking up here. They'll also be able to hear and learn all about our Fennec Foxes because of the educator chalk point. I'm going to be decorating this with a little bit of foliage and of course our golden Fennec Fox statue. We just have to add that because why not? Now let's stick our foxes into quarantine and wait for them to get the all clear so that we can add them into their new home. And the first thing we need to do is make sure that it is okay with them, and oh, we didn't do too bad. Look at that. I just need to add a little bit more sand and that is super easy to do. Not too bad at all. Yay me. Pats on the head. And as you can see, this is our now very popular Fennec Fox habitat. Oh my goodness. If you fly in here, you get to see their nice little sleeping area along with the area that they can go and hide from the guests, because I did not add any one-way glass in here and these guys are actually quite shy. But they do have this nice little quiet area that they could hide from guests from, and this turned into a really cute little habitat. It's about twice the size, I think, or maybe 3 times the size that they actually need, which is perfect for when we get a couple of extra foxes in here because they can have up to 10 in their social group. And of course, we do not want to forget to add a do not disturb sign here on the wall because I didn't use one-way glass, and the do not disturb signs do help the guests stay quiet to help reduce stress for those animals that get stressed out easily. Fennec foxes are the tiniest of fox species. They look like little plushies, and boy do I want one. And those satellite ears are just like built-in AC units that help them cool off in their desert living quarters. They can also hear prey moving underground, which makes sense. Look at those things, they're huge. They're nocturnal, avoiding the worst part of the daytime heat. They're also strong diggers, making burrows in record time for that shade and safety. But the desert can also be really cold when the sun goes down, so that fluffy coat is doing double duty. It keeps them from overheating during the day, but it also keeps them warm and cozy at night when the temperature drops. They're just so adorable and cute and small. I want to boop the nose so bad. I want a pocket Fennec Fox for myself. You know, for emotional support. And next on the wheel, we are going to roll our first exhibit animal, the Amazonian giant centipede. Yucky. These guys are so tiny compared to what their prehistoric brethren used to look like. Oh my gosh, Arthropleura, have you guys ever seen them? No thank you. And for our theme, we'll be rolling Fiesta and Rustic. Now, if I was building a habitat, I probably would roll again because these two, not very rich in the building pieces. So maybe let's let's take a moment and pray for me, okay? I'm going to try and throw something together with these unspectacular building things. Okay, don't come after me. I know it looks terrible, but it's the best that I could do. It was literally the best that I could do, okay? It's a good thing that it was just a bug because I hardly had anything to work with these two themes. I don't really care for themes that don't have full building sets that come with them. It makes it very difficult to build anything. But I think I didn't do too bad here. The Amazonian giant centipede can get over a foot long. Oh my god. And it doesn't just eat insects. What? It will take down small frogs, lizards, and even mice if it can overpower them. It's an aggressive predator that uses venom claws near its head to subdue its prey. The modified front legs are called forcipules. Also, just a fun little tidbit here, people can get bitten if they're handled or disturbed, and it's very painful. So this is definitely a look, don't touch animal. I'm back at the wheel because it is time to roll again, and we're going to get the Hill Radnor sheep. Oh, this is just like a very basic domesticated farm sheep. So another walkthrough habitat, is that what I'm hearing? And for the themes, we're going to roll Arctic and Arctic. Okay, it really wants me to use Arctic for this build. Okay, we're rolling with it. We're just going to click on Arctic, I guess, for the themes. For the fence, it is going to be super duper simple, y'all. We're going to use the Arctic fence. I'm going to sink that into the ground, and inside the Arctic fence, we're going to add the Arctic roof trim piece just to give it a little something something. And there, see? Super easy. Now, after it is all merged together, we're going to do the same where we duplicate it and start just putting it around for our barrier. I'm also going to be using rocks to fill in the back part of the area where our barrier is going to be. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a barn out here in the back where the keepers will be able to enter and feed the animals. It is also going to be where the guests are going to be entering as well, because I am going to make this another walkthrough habitat, because who doesn't want to pet some sheepies? And this is what our habitat is looking like with the fence barrier, the back wall barrier, and the outline of the barn put in. And here is our habitat after we added a little bit of our stonework. I added some education and a couple of the sheep cutout signs and some trees in the back. Nothing crazy here. We're also going to be adding in our regular habitat items like a food bowl, sleeping area, and a little bit of enrichment for our sheepies. Then we're going to go out and purchase our sheep and stick them in with our manager bison so that way he can watch them for us while they get their quarantine pass. Oh, oh no, I guess the sheep can escape? I should probably check on that. Oh yeah, just look at this little guy, just having a stroll through the zoo, isn't he? Or isn't she? Excuse me. She's wandering around like she owns the place. Oh, I think she's one of our new employees. I didn't realize I hired a new employee, but apparently I did. Look at that. and she's on the roof now. Yep, just hanging out on the roof. Maybe this is where the employees take their smoke breaks. Don't do that. Don't smoking is terrible, okay? It's disgusting, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you do that, quit. I believe in you. Oh, and she got shot by the vet. Yep. There goes the vet. Now returning our new... Oh, maybe she was corporate? Maybe that sheep was corporate, visiting and checking in on our googly-eyed manager bison. That was it. I need a googly-eyed sheep now. Corporate sheep. I may or may not have forgot to film the flyover of the sheep habitat with all the excitement, so let's just get into the facts for these little cotton balls with legs, shall we? The Hill Radnor sheep are built for the hills, bred from the Welsh border country, around Old Radnorshire and neighboring shires. They're a chunky upland sheep, bigger and bulkier than a lot of other Welsh hill types. They have that classic look, a thick white fleece and a tan face with an absolutely adorable little nose. The girls are naturally hornless, but the rams usually have those signature curled horns, which always makes them look a little bit like they mean business. They're known for being pretty docile for a hill breed, good foragers, and solid mothers too, which is exactly why farmers have kept them going even in rough, wet hill conditions. Ooh, and it's time to roll again. Let's see what the wheel will give us next. Ooh, another exhibit animal, the Mexican red-knee tarantula. Do any of you own spiders as pets? I've thought about it, and for themes for this build, I'm going to get Arctic. Damn, I just can't get away from Arctic, can I? And South America. Okay, I'm going to be leaning heavier into the South America for this build, I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to mirror the exhibit that is on the other side and make another expanded boy for this side too. I'm going to snap in some grid pieces to cover this exhibit box, and I'm going to be using the large bamboo pieces to cover any seams that the grid doesn't cover. For the inside, I'm going to be using mulch to make a nice floor for the expanded part of the exhibit, and I'm going to add some leaf litter to add a little bit of texture to the base. Next, I'm going to be adding different plants to try and match the other side the best that I can, starting with some dead trees and a trunk. And then I'm just going to sprinkle in different plants and vines and stuff to try and fill the space a little bit. And don't forget to add glass, we gotta keep up the illusion after all. And education is last. The Mexican red-knee tarantula is one of the most recognizable tarantulas out there. Those bright orange-red knees look scary, but it's mostly a don't touch me kind of arachnid, not a come and fight me. It's not an aggressive spider. Most of the time it would rather just sit still and be left alone. When it's stressed, it can flick those little defensive hairs from its abdomen, which can be super irritating to the eyes and the skin. They spend a lot of time in their burrows and in sheltered spots, conserving their energy to be used after dark, when they become way more active. And here's something you probably didn't know. Females can live an incredibly long time. I'm talking like decades, so be prepared for a commitment if you want one of these as a pet. Males, not so much. They're a one and done kind of guy, if you know what I mean. I mean, at least that I happy, right? We have over 1,000 guests now, so I think it is time that we start a gift shop. And I'm hoping if I put it over here, that will encourage people to start maybe using the entrance to the Quokka Trail. Although something tells me that it won't, since the paths don't actually connect with paths anymore. But I'm afraid to put a path under these shop tiles, because that's what happened in Fluttery Treasure's gift shop, and that's in my first menagerie zoo, and people kept getting stuck. You remember? So we'll just have to see. Using the grid and the conservation pieces, I'm going to shell out a little shop that I want to use here, and I'm going to be including some windows so people can see into the Quokka Trail and into the Quokka sleeping area from inside the shop, and so that way the kids can see the plushies from outside the shop and drag their parental units inside to buy them all. It takes forever placing all these shelves, but I need variety, so I'm gonna do it. Just give me a second. And here's our new gift shop, the Quokka Waka shop. I love it. It is so simple and cute, and it works for what we need. We have a nice variety of everything the shop has to offer, with some nice viewing windows into their sleeping areas that can only be viewed from inside the shop. People are still ignoring this door, but that's okay. I didn't spend any time recoloring all these shelves, but just know that all of these shelves can be recolored to whatever theme you need it for. There is plenty of space in here, so hopefully no one will get stuck this time. I just love how simple and cute this build turned out, and I also added an ATM station outside so people can pull out more cash before entering. Let me know what you guys think. Oh my god, no! I just finished building this gift shop for you, Waka. You can't die! No! Oh my god, he died!
Emotional damage!
Hey, get off of him! Stop stepping on Waka! Gosh, these people are so rude. Poor Waka. Well, I guess the shop is in memory of Waka now. Yep, just take him away, vets. I know. So sad. Anyways, I do have a little panda tip if you want to hear it. So y'all know how we have habitat cameras, right? And I told you how habitat cameras can help you get a half a star into marketing when you place them. But did you also know that if you place a habitat camera and then a TV, click on your TV and name your TV Big Brother. Now you can click on the video and connect it to your habitat camera. Just name your habitat camera so it's easier to find which one you're looking for. And see? Look at that. Now you can put your habitat camera feeds all over your zoo. I'm not sure if it helps, like give people education or anything, but it's pretty cool, especially if you have a backstage area that you want to show off, or the animals have like a nice little hidey hole where you want the guests to be able to still view them for. So yeah, Big Brother, that's your panda tip of the day. You're welcome. Oh my goodness, sheep explosion is happening over here in this corner of the zoo. This is gonna become a problem, isn't it? I can tell. I'm going to copy this shell that I used for an info booth and add a little bit of food and water as well as some benches for sitting down. And that means, yes, it's time for trash cans. We need trash cans. I hate trash cans. And just look at them flocking. I guess they were hungry and thirsty. And they're kind of fighting over the seats too. I might need to add more seats around the zoo. And our next gift from the wheel is... oh no! The diseased bird himself! The Indian peafowl. A perfect starter animal. But outbreaks happen very easily. And for themes, we're going to be using Planet Zoo and Indian. Now, I do have an idea that I've always wanted to do, but I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, and it's probably not going to be great, but just maybe bear with me. First, I'm going to lay out the barrier using the in-game hedge barriers, and that is just because I do not want to tediously set out all of the hedges in a line. That just sounds horrible. Now that I have my barrier all laid out, I'm going to attempt to make a maze. Now, keep your expectations low, people, okay? And there we go! Kind of. I mean, it isn't the worst thing I've ever made, that's for sure. Is it great? No. Is it a maze? Kinda. I'm going to add the birds in here and see what they think of it. They're the ones who have to live here after all. Oh, and just look at him. He sure is pretty, isn't he? While I fix the terrain, the peafowl quickly let me know that they can escape by just simply hopping over the fence and getting out. Which is silly. Why do they even need to be contained at all? I wish certain animals could be free roam in your zoo, like swans. I don't feel like they need to be contained either. I did sink in a few rocks to help kind of block their escape points though. I don't think the maze turned out bad. It's pretty. I wanted to add more flowers and stuff, and I still might. I might go back and add more, but if the people are realistically walking through the maze, I would imagine that there wouldn't be much growing where the people are walking constantly. Have you guys ever built a maze? Is there a trick to it? Please let me know. Oh my gosh, I turned away for 1 second and the babies are already happening. How do they reproduce so quickly? Contraceptive. We need some contraceptive over here, quick. Peafowls are great for getting your conservation credits in the beginning. They breed very fast and you can just release them for a small amount of credits. Those small amount of credits add up real fast. They do, I promise. Peafowls are one of those animals that look elegant until they open their mouths and scream. The flashy ones are the males. Those big iconic tails that everyone thinks of are actually a bunch of extra long upper tail feathers called a train. And he fans it out to look huge and sparkly to impress the ladies. The females don't have huge trains and are much less colorful, making them more camouflaged, which makes sense because they're the ones nesting. They're loud, like really loud. And even though they spend a lot of time on the ground, they're surprisingly good at getting up into trees to roost at night, which helps keep them safe from predators. The next animal to be selected off the wheel is going to be the Addax. Ooh, shy boys. These guys are pretty cute, aren't they? And the theme for the build will be African and Festival. Again, Festival isn't my favorite theme, so I'm sure I'm going to be relying heavily on the African for this build. For the fence, I'm going to be using the African wooden sunshade support large for the sides. In the middle, I'm going to be using a one-way glass panel, which, like mesh, it doesn't have a theme, okay? I always use those two if I wanna. I make the rules around here, okay? For the bottom of the fence, I'm going to be using the African fence piece, and then I'm going to be using a mesh fence panel at the top of the fence, and I'm going to finish it off with a few more of those African wooden sunshades, but straight, to add a little bit more detail. And see, that's your custom fence. Now we're going to merge it all together, and there you go. Super easy. Even you can do it, I promise. Now I'm going to move this into place and just stretch it along the path for some premium guest viewing. And for this odd little corner here, I'm going to be using some non-grid pieces to fill out this space. This will also be where our education and donation bins will be added later. The back wall will get some rocks, which I will later change out for some more desert theme instead of these ones. I don't like these ones. Near the back of the habitat is where I'll be adding the keeper entrance, and this will also be the sleeping covered area for them as well. And instead of lowering the terrain, I'm going to actually raise up the building by adding a half wall to the top of this for the roof, and then I'm going to be filling in the grid with some nice thatch pieces. And I'm going to be topping it all off with some voluptuous roof toppers. Now for some nice transitions. Here's our habitat after the barrier, and after some slight rock work, including changing out that back wall for some desert rocks. And now we have the habitat items and the terrain paint in that I think will work with them. And last, some plant life to bring it all together. And after a quick quarantine check, it is time to throw our new Addax into the pen and find out what they think of it. I need to check to make sure that they can't break out. Oh, and the terrain is perfect. I love when that happens. Makes me look like I know what I'm doing. This was another super simple build, and it works with the sculpted terrain that was given to me. I know I've already modified the terrain a little bit, but I think it would be really fun to do another sculpted terrain map where I am not allowed to modify the terrain at all, except for adding water. I think that would be a really fun challenge. Let me know what you guys think about that. It's simple, it's cute, it's functional, and I'm here for it. The Addax are critically adapted for desert life. Their pale coats reflect sunlight, and their broad, splayed hoofs help them walk on soft sands without sinking in it. They can go long periods of time with little to no water, getting much of the moisture that they need from the plants that they eat. And they often rest in the shade during the hottest part of the day to help conserve energy. Those twisted horns aren't just stylish, they're used for defense and sparring. And those things are gnarly looking. I can't imagine being impaled by one. Oh my god. Oh, and look at the babies! Addax usually just have one calf at a time, and calves are born with a darker, more sandy brown coat than the adults have, which helps camouflage them early on. They stay really close to mom as they learn where to feed and when to move in extreme heat. I wish the babies would actually stay with their mom in this game, but we get what we get. I'm going to take this moment to finally upgrade our staff buildings to the bigger break room and the bigger keeper hut. I'm also going to be using the same grid pieces that is on the entrance to kind of copy the design to cover this area, to make it look more like it belongs here and a proper staff compound. And I think it turned out pretty good. It really matches the entrance very well. Now back to the wheel, and the wheel says, oh, give me something good. Ooh, the Siberian Tiger. Ooh, pretty kitty. I love them already. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. And for the theme, I got Classic and East Asia. Oh, that's very nice. I mean, I think Siberian Tigers are more... Oh, it's dark time. It must be October. Siberian Tigers are more found in Russia. Oh, but it also says northeastern borders of China, so... Yeah, cool. We'll make it work. It's gonna be fine. I'm just going to have a boy and a girl since they don't like being in big groups very much, and in the wild they actually don't cohabitate usually at all. This is where I'm thinking about putting them. Rain. Of course it's raining right now. Okay, let's wait the rain out. Hang on, give me a moment. Alright, the rain is done. First, I'm going to place a path that will break off from the main vein of path to help flow the guests. I also think this is prime time for a restaurant. What do you guys think? For this fence, I'm going to be using one white glass, some brick wall columns on either side, 2 brick wall panels along the bottom, and for the top, I'm going to recolor and use the East Asia painted timber decorative screen, along with the East Asian painted timber railings, again repainted to white to help match the seams in the brick wall, and finally a couple of concrete fountain cap dome to round off this custom barrier. Now select everything, and merge it into a group so it's easier to move where you want it. I'm going to start laying this out along the path, and then I'm going to use some blank walls to break up the glass and to leave space to put education and donation bins without blocking the view. Now this is where I'm going to put the restaurant. It's just a boring shell right now, so let's spice it up a bit. And there we go! The bistro is ready for guests. Oh wait, no, it's not chairs. We need chairs. Hang on. There. Yeah, there we go. Chairs and a cover that will somehow keep the rain out. Let me show you around a little bit. See, I love this. The bistro. And of course, our tiger has to have googly eyes, because why not? I hope they have googly eyes in Planet Zoo too. I might be lost without them if we don't have googly eyes. Oh, and I forgot to cover this wall. Hang on, there we go. That's better. And I thought that I could recolor the restaurant shell, but I don't see the option to do it. I could at least recolor the employees' outfits that work here. Orange and black. tigers. And then this is what the barrier is looking like so far. And after the barrier is done, the back wall is in, the hide is in the back over there for the tigers. Let's rearrange the camera a little bit to get a bit of an easier look as I add some rocks and foliage next. And there we go! The habitat is done and ready for our new tigers, and the guests are already flocking towards the bistro for some tiger tails. Or is it Tigger tails? Alright, manager, make sure those employees are taking good care of my tigers. They are the new stars of the show after all. I keep getting this notice because the bathroom is just a wee bit too close to the water treatment center, and when the guests are leaving the bathroom, they get annoyed for half a second. Like, get over it. Gosh. While those guys are marinating in quarantine, I'm going to sprinkle the habitat items around that I most certainly did not forget to add. And thanks to the Bengal tiger research from our first menagerie, I have plenty of enrichment toys to pick from, and I'm going to dot a lot of them over by the restaurant viewing windows. I think that would be a lot of fun. Oh, and here they are! They're so fluffy! Oh, she's so pretty. I want some carbon copies of you, ma'am, okay? And the habitat is just, it's perfect. Look at that. I might actually be a professional. Who knew? Here is our restaurant tiger habitat. I really like the way the barrier turned out. I was really just sticking pieces together and hoping for the best, I promise. The rain shelter is in the back, filled with bedding. Out here they have plenty of rocks to sunbathe on, because we all know how much cats just love sunbathing and lazing about during the day. In here they have another rain shelter, and it's all nestled up right next to our first restaurant of the zoo, the Bistro. I imagine they serve meat skewers. If you've ever been to Disneyland, the food counter outside of Indiana Jones called the Bengal Barbecue, where they serve meat and veggie skewers, is a must-have. It's my favorite. Oh my gosh, I need to go to Disney now. Babe, take me to Disney. Siberian tigers, also called Amur tigers, are the largest and floofiest tiger subspecies, built for the cold forests in Russia and parts of northeast China. Their coat is usually paler and fluffier than other tigers, and that extra fur plus a thick layer of body fat helps them handle those harsh winters. They're solitary, wide-ranged hunters that rely on stealth and strength to take down prey like deer and wild boar. They can patrol huge territories, marking them with scent and scratches to help keep rival tigers away. And when it comes to their babies, females usually give birth in hidden dens to a litter of around 2 to 4 cubs. The cubs are born blind and totally dependent on their mother at first. And the mom does basically everything. Nursing, she moves them if the den isn't safe, and she leaves them tucked away while she hunts. And as they grow up, she'll gradually bring them along with her to learn her hunting skills. And they'll typically stay with her for about 2 years before they head off on their own. Now please tell me this is a better restaurant mascot than the Hungry Hippo, right? Right? I think it is. An animal 10 to be joining the menagerie is the African wild dog. And unlike the hyena, I know this one's dog because dog is in the name. Okay, all jokes aside, I really appreciate you guys educating me, seriously. For the themes, I will be working with African and North African. Oh, okay then. The African wild dog needs a surprisingly large amount of space, so I'm going to be building for a male and 2 females and their pups. I want to have a nice indoor viewing area for the dogs that could be viewed while they're hiding from the summer sun, and I need to make sure that I leave some viewing windows for the guests. So this tunnel is where the guests will be able to walk through, and this area over here will be their inside area for the dogs to hang out in. And I'm going to be finishing this off by throwing up a barrier to outline the whole habitat. And now it is time for my favorite part. Rocks! I love rocks so much. Rocks look so good. Look at how good it looks with the rocks. And then foliage. Yes, rocks are nice, but foliage also helps bring it all to life. And it is now time to add the African wild dog to the habitat, and time to do our usual checks and... Oh, no, I must have forgot to put glass in here. Well, the guests can get a real nice up-close look at these pups now, can't they? Oh yeah, really up close. There they go. I guess it's a good thing they aren't running around the whole zoo. They pretty much just stayed right here while I put the glass up. Welcome to my African wild dog habitat. Don't worry, they don't bite. The guests enter here and learn all about our puppies before moving over to the viewing windows. And out in their yard, there is plenty of room for them to roam around and play. I was able to add a few enrichment toys for them to keep them entertained, and I really like the way the rocks and plants really came together in this habitat. It just looks so good. Buffalo grass is a must. And back into their covered inside area, I see a few dogs sleeping on the ground. Oh, I must have forgot to add bedding for them. Oops. I should really fix that, shouldn't I? That was our African wild dog habitat. I really like the way it turned out, and it fits perfectly over here by our Addax habitat. African wild dogs are one of the most social predators in the world. They live in tight-knit packs with a clear hierarchy. Instead of every adult breeding like crazy, it's usually just a dominant pair. And they are really cooperative together. They'll hunt together, share food, and even take care of injured pack mates. And endurance is the name of the game when it comes to how they hunt. They can keep chasing and going for long distances to wear their prey down through teamwork rather than sheer size. And oh my gosh, look at the babies! Oh, they're so cute! The pack uses den sites, and the mother can have a surprisingly large litter, often 6 to 10 puppies, sometimes more. Well, not here. We just had 2 for now, but you know. While the puppies are small, most of the pack acts like babysitters. Adults and older siblings will guard the den and bring back food. And here's a neat little tidbit. Wild dogs often regurgitate their food for pups, so even the youngest can eat before they're ready to travel from the group. That pack support is a big reason why pups have a better chance at making it to adulthood. For the last spin of this video, remember, I am trying not to go too far over 10 per episode until we see how the game handles it. The Monarch butterfly! Oh, fantastic! I need a money printer for this zoo, and the wheel has provided. And I am not going to be using any themes for this build because I am going to be making a fully opened butterfly garden right here next to the peafowls. Oh my god, it's so loud. Why did I choose right here? Shh, quiet guys, I'm trying to build. After placing my own exhibit where I want it, I am going to then go in with the null path to path out how I want the guests to walk through this area and to eventually double back into the zoo where we will be continuing on in the next video. Then using the soil terrain paint, I am going to paint the path to make it seem like the ground is being constantly walked on. Next, I'm going to place our butterflies in here and change the whole exhibit to none to give me just a big empty box. Then I'm going to be using Australian planks of different sizes to make a blueprint that I can then duplicate and lay on top of the path. Then selecting the biome of plants that the butterflies like, I am going to dot around a little of everything, especially flowers. The more flowers, the better. Do these plants and trees go together? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a plant expert. IRL, I have no green thumb at all. I even killed a chia plant once before. It's definitely something that I want to get better at though. I would love to have like a garden. Ooh, I would also love to have a bonsai tree one day. I'm just filling in every available space with trees of all different colors and any and all flowers that I can find. Don't enter the butterfly boardwalk if you have allergies. You have been warned. And here is what our butterfly boardwalk is looking like after I have finished placing 200 plants. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm realizing that I forgot rocks. Those little pebbles from the faux rock aquatic pack would have been perfect in here, but oh well. This time we'll let the plants do the heavy lifting. I love that you can make an exhibit completely opened and we're allowed creative freedom to make a butterfly park within our zoo. Frontier, we need more of this kind of freedom, honestly. Well done, team. The monarch butterfly's whole life cycle is tied to milkweed. Monarch caterpillars can only eat milkweed, and they store some of the plant's toxins in their bodies as they grow. And that's what makes both caterpillars and adult butterflies taste bad to many predators. After the caterpillar finishes feeding, it forms a jade green chrysalis, and about a week or 2 later, it'll emerge as an adult monarch, ready to feed on nectar and start the cycle all over again. And monarch butterflies are famous for one of the most impressive migrations in the entire insect world. Every year, monarchs from across North America travel thousands of miles over winter in large groups. And the crazy part is, the ones that survive aren't even the same individuals that left earlier in the season. It actually takes multiple generations for them to complete a full round trip. Ticking over into year 25, we almost completed our research for all the animals added to this run. 11 total species went in. Profit margins are looking great. The zoo just ticked over to $750,000 in the bank. Everything is green. Nothing is broken. Ignore these 2 diseases. I'm sure that's fine. Thirst and education are down just a little bit, but I think I might just need to hire a tour or 2 in the next round and we'll be fine. I've never actually messed with tours outside of campaign mode, so that should be fun. I want to try and set up one of these walking tours. I don't normally use these. I think the one and only time that I have ever used these was in the career level when it came out with the DLC and the update that introduced them. So first, I'm going to build a small stopping point for our tour group to meet up before heading out on their tour. I'm going to be pretty much copying the same style as our little shop stalls over here, keeping the theme for the front area. And let's put tours on here. There we go. Now people will know exactly where they need to wait for their tour. Perfect. Now I'm going to place several of these around the zoo. Now I don't want to link too many of these together because I do believe that the educator does get tired in between these stops, so you can't just have them do the whole zoo all in one go. They might quit. And now we wait. Yep, any minute now they're gonna come rolling in here. Any minute. Or not. So sorry, my guy, no one wanted to come to your tour. Maybe next time, friend. I'm going to leave this and just assume that it's going to work for now. To our first spin, what will the mighty wheel give us today? The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. Ooh, a danger noodle from my own backyard. And for our building themes, let's see what we are going to be rolling with today. The first one is North Africa, and for the next we got Festival. What is with getting these accent-only building piece themes for our poor exhibits? Oh well, I can make this work. I always do. I'm going to squeeze this box in here between our Addax and our African wild dog habitats, and I'm not going to be making an expanded exhibit this time. Am I ill? What's wrong with me? No, I am just not terribly inspired by these building themes, that's all. First, I am going to frame out the box with plaster pieces that have these nice cutouts, and for the accent pieces, I'm just going to fill in these holes around the sides and the back with these pretty blue wooden pieces. I'm then going to add education, a simple roof, and the last thing I'm going to do is doctor up the 2 sides with some desert landscaping. That should bring the guests over here. And there we go! Our first build is done and dusted. The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake is a venomous snake native to southwestern United States, extending from California to Arkansas. Known for their distinct diamond-shaped markings, these snakes typically grow about 3 feet in length, although some have been known to reach about 6 feet. The species is ovoviviparous, with females giving birth to live young after a gestation period of about 3 to 4 months. More people are bitten by the diamondback rattlesnake than any other venomous or poisonous snake in North America, probably because all the other real bad ones live in Australia. However, even with that fact, more people are still killed each year by lightning than by being struck by a venomous rattlesnake. Look at this person. She just pickpocketed someone and is now being chased. Oh, and look at her. Now she's hiding in the merch line to use that stolen money to buy something for herself. I love how the security guard is just letting her do it. They're on the radio like,
"Yeah, boss, she stopped at the Just a Momento booth. What should I do?"
And Manager Bison is like,
"Hold. Let them spend money, then kick them out."
"Copy that, sir."
That is exactly what they're doing too. Look, now she's being kicked out. Yeah, you get out of here. I hope you enjoy your souvenir magnet. Walk of shame. Walk of shame for you. Not shameful enough. We need more eyes on her. I have an idea. There we go. Now everyone sees you in your shame. Oh, and our tour is touring. Look at them go. Him with his little owl sign. How cute. I'm so glad that it's working the way that it's intended. And this guy is super stoked to be here. That's a wallaby kid over here. Oh. Oh. I might need to move that sign. That's a very knowledgeable wall. Gotta love Planet Zoo and its quirks. Although, to be fair, this is a me problem. This is my fault. I did this. Alright, we're all warmed up and ready for the wheel to deliver me something good. Something amazing. African spurred tortoise. Ooh, I love these little helmets with legs. Look how cute they are. And for our themes, please, wheel, I'm begging you, give me something good. Africa. Oh, full stop. I can work with that. And East Asia. Oh, wheel. You shouldn't have. Buttering me up for something, are you? And I'm going to continue building off these African buildings that I already have in place down here for our Addax and our African wild dog. Past Panda was good to me. She even left me a little side door. I'm going to be using the PVC strips for our door. And then I'm going to spend some time putting up these little accent wood pieces. I'm really trying to expand my building skills here. And it really does just take doing one small thing different with each and every build. On the inside here, I'm going to place down some of these wood panels so that way I have a place to anchor this little habitat gate for these guys. And then I'm going to add a keeper hut here to take down some of the walk time for the animals that are on this side of the zoo. Since these are tortoises, the fence is going to be super complicated, super high tech. Nothing's getting through here. This log. No, that's it. It's just gonna be a log. I know. I'm asking a lot of you, and this is really complicated. But if you really try hard, you too can place a log like me. It just takes practice. I want to make a little pool here so that way they can sit and just kind of marinate during the day. But I don't want it to be too deep. I still want them to be able to completely walk along the bottom. So I'm going to use just one section of this pre-made pool that I got off the workshop by this creator here. Love them. I am just going to select one and use angle snap, and I'm going to spin it around until I can complete the circle. I am then going to mess with the terrain paint all around and doctor it up the way that I think that they're going to like it. We can do some tweaking once they're in here if I need to. And I'm also going to add in some habitat items, food, water, enrichment, you know, all the good stuff. And now I'm going to add in some rocks on the sides of these little hills. I don't want to add too much since they have little legs and I don't want to cut off too much of their habitat walking space. I'm also going to use rocks to hide this underground burrow entrance and try and make it look more realistic. And then for foliage, I'm just going to put a few smaller stumps and shrubbery and plants. Nothing crazy for our little bulldozers with legs. Now it is time to put our new friends into quarantine and wait for their health checks to be completed. Let's throw our new friends in here and just look how cute they are! Like a weird, slow-moving tortoise centipede. Don't worry, they'll make it. We cannot rush perfection here, people, okay? They will go at their own pace. Something about the tortoise and the hare. Who won in that race, after all? And there they are! We better check their habitat, though. Oh, and look at that. First habitat of the day, and we are all in the green. And there's no way for them to escape. Could you ask for anything better? But it doesn't look like I can get in their pool. Oh, that's sad. But if that's the only problem, I'll take it. I probably just need to make it a little bit of an easier slope for them to get into it. African spurred tortoises are the third largest tortoise species. They will continue to grow in size until about 10 years of age. And then they'll stop growing by the time they're 15 to 20 years of age. These tortoises are very aggressive with each other. Males will fight for females by ramming themselves into their opponent in an attempt to flip them over. And to create a nest, a female tortoise will dig a divot in the ground. She may create up to 5 nests before selecting the one that she wants to lay her eggs into. And after selecting that nest, she will lay roughly 1 egg every 3 minutes until 15 to 30 eggs have been laid. The eggs will then be buried and incubate underground for about 8 months. And did you know, these tortoises can survive without water for weeks and can drink up to 15% of their body weight in just one sitting. That's a lot of water. And by the way, maybe you should drink some water too. I should drink some water. We should all drink water, she says as she sips on sweet tea. I want to add some food options and a bathroom here, but since the ground isn't quite flat, it does make it a little bit hard to put a plaza in using the Align to Grid path tool. So I'm going to make an L shape with my path, and then I'm going to go into the corners, place a piece of path, and then right click to take it away, over, and over and over again, and that will make this path area grow into a little plaza. You can have plazas wherever you want, promise. This is also how you can round the corners of your paths. If you didn't know, then I guess that is your panda tip of the day. You're welcome. For our food and drink, I'm going to add in these wonderful food trucks that I found off the workshop by this creator here. They have a truck for every shop. How adorable. And since the donut shop doesn't sell coffee too, I'm going to also put down a coffee truck. Who doesn't sell food and drink in the same shop? I don't know. And with this added coffee shop, I'm going to also add a toilet so people can go to the loo after their coffee. It's inevitable. And I'm also going to sink in a cooler since it is so dang hot today. 108 degrees. It's like 40 Celsius? I don't know about you, but you won't catch me outside at the zoo if it's that hot outside. I'm also going to fan out some of these canopies, and that will make it look more like an umbrella for the tables. Stay out of the sun, guys. The sun is not your friend. It ages you. Back to the wheel, it is time to roll again, and we are going to get the striped hyena. And I know now that this is not a dog. Although, it really does look like a good boy, doesn't it? So I do understand the confusion. And for the themes, we got rustic and aquatic. Okay, Wheel. Okay, I see what you did there. It is laughing at me for being so excited before. Bet, Wheel. Bet. I can make this work, don't you worry. First, I'm going to lay out a shell for the keepers and the hyenas. I'm using the grid and the building pieces that came with the aquatic DLC. These are flex colored pieces, so I'm going to be coloring the whole building into more of this sienna color that I have for this first piece here. Flex color building pieces are really the way to go. I hope that we get more of that in the next game. I'm going to attempt to make a bit of a backstage area. I'm not the best at remembering to do this, so here we are trying new things, okay? This door is going to be where the keepers will actually be dropping off our new hyenas. And this area right here outside the door will be a nice covered little sleeping spot for them. I'm going to go off theme and use some mesh to fill in the spots between the wood pieces here. Mesh never counts for theming, okay? Mesh and glass, I can always use those. Then I'm going to use some of these rustic fence posts to line our door area here, and with angle snap on, I'm going to angle some more mesh to make it look like these doors are propped open so the hyenas can actually go through the rest of their habitat freely. And I'm also going to go off theme here and use the European marquee beams. Sometimes you have a vision, and we'll be damned, you are going to make that vision happen by framing out your mesh the way you want to. Just kidding, Manager Bison, I love you. Please don't punish me. This is what our gate is looking like all done, and now that I'm editing this, I realize that I should have went in with some of those rustic fence handle pieces to make handles for these doors. Oh well, next time. Next time, it's fine. Now it is time to recolor everything. It looks so much better in this more orangey brown color, especially on this side of the zoo where our more African theme is. Now I'm going to be placing down a floor for our keepers that I'm going to be recoloring to black. And I'm also going to be putting in our barrier door so we can see how it fits here. And as you can see, there is a pretty big gap over the door, but don't you worry, we can cover that with a non-grid piece. Just recolor it to the same color as your wall. Make sure all the lines are lined up and no one will know the difference. Now, let's make a fence. Since we are on a sculpted terrain map, the ground is super uneven. So in order to make a straight fence, I'm first going to lay down a grid piece. I'm then going to separate that grid piece from this grid here, so it's on its own grid now. This piece will get deleted in the end. I'm just using it as my foundation to build on. First, I'm going to use this rustic wood fence post as my first piece. And after putting that into place, I'm going to use angle snap and duplicate it to make another one of those posts that I can rotate 90 degrees and have it lay down flat. I'm going to then duplicate that and move it to the top. Now I don't believe this is going to be quite tall enough for safety, so I'm going to actually double that. Back to the mesh I go to fill in the middle of this with mesh pieces, and then I'm going to duplicate the horizontal wood pieces to stretch them over to complete the fence. Don't forget to merge it all into a group so it's easier to move around. And now I am just going to place this around the front of the habitat. I'm going to use some rocks to help break up the fence a little bit and have a nice place to put down our education boards with some donation bins without blocking any sightlines. Now that our fence is in, let's do a neat transition to add in our habitat items. And then our rocks And of course, last but not least, our foliage. Now let's go get our hyenas, shall we? Just some ladies on the market. If I remember correctly, hyenas have a female hierarchy and multiple females are bad news, so yeah, 1 female, 6 males. So I'm gonna have to wait for the market to refresh and hope we get at least 1 boy here. And aren't you lucky? You didn't have to wait long at all, did you? A boy showed up. Lucky you. Let's go ahead and buy this guy up and put them in their new home. And here they come out of their little boxes. Oh, look at their little mohawks. They're so cute. I love them already. And what? All in the green again? Dang, I am on a roll. Maybe I am a professional after all. Working with the terrain, we were able to put in this very cute hyena habitat for our newly striped hyenas. I think it turned out so good. I try not to go too crazy on the foliage and the rock work, mostly because I want this zoo to keep chugging along until year 100. I really like the way this gate and sleeping area turned out for them. Like I said, I really want to try and make more backstage areas. I usually don't worry about it, but seeing other YouTubers' builds has me wanting to push my building style for sure. What do you guys think? Do you normally make backstage areas? Do you have places designated for your keepers to put animals inside their pens? Let me know. I'm curious. Hyenas are the most common large carnivore in Africa, and hyenas are neither members of the dog or the cat family. They are unique, and so they have their own name, Hyenidae, which has 4 members: the striped hyena, the laughing spotted hyenas, brown hyenas, and the aardwolf, which is not a wolf. These animals are sometimes referred to as the scourge of the Serengeti. However, their cleanup work is important. The striped hyena is smaller, shyer, and less social than the more well-known spotted hyena. While striped hyenas are primarily scavengers, larger individuals have been known to hunt and kill their own prey, including relatively large prey such as sheep or goats. And unlike their noisy, cackling cousins, striped hyenas are generally silent creatures. They communicate primarily through scent markings, subtle body language and postures, soft growls, and distinct walking patterns that signal territory. The striped hyena's loud call, a cackling howl, is rarely heard in the wild, but those instances are very uncommon compared to the social chaos of the spotted hyena communities. Alright, Wheel, don't do me dirty, okay? We got this. Give me something good. The timber wolf, or the gray wolf. Oh, now there is a good boy right there. And the themes we're going to be building with is New World and Arctic. No Fiesta. So basically we're building with New World. Got it. I'm going to put them back here by our tigers, and I'm going to use the same trick to make a straight fence like I did with the hyenas by placing down a grid piece first to use as our foundation of straightness. Then I'm going to bounce between some fence ideas. Your girl was struggling here. A lot was edited out. I start with the Fiesta ironwork window guards and place that down horizontally, and then I'm going to use one of these vertical wood plank roof pieces on the side of the fence, followed up with the smaller version of the Fiesta ironwood window guard for the top of the fence. I'm telling you, I was struggling. So I'm also going to be placing a New World wall decorative panel, and I'm going to maneuver this in the middle of the ironwork fence and push it down. And in this space here, I think I finally decided on some glass. I really did spend about 30 minutes just making this fence, so, and you will see by the time that I'm done, I don't even use it. No, seriously, I don't. I think I covered most of it up, actually. But that's okay. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're on a journey together here. Now that it's done, it's all merged into a group, I'm going to start laying it out in front of the habitat. Just the front. The whole back is going to be rock work. I'm now noticing when I build for wolves, I always seem to make an elevated viewing area. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I am the way that I am, but I am going to go for it. And trust me, this one took a long time. I fiddled with this path for a long time trying to get it right. Now I'm not naming any names, but I have been playing some other games that might be coming to the channel. I don't know, but I like that pathing system way more. And I'm hoping beyond hope that it is being brought over to Planet Zoo 2. Anyways, for inside the hole in the floor here, I want to add some glass so the guests can look down on the wolves, which I will be adding some bedding down there. I don't know if the wolves will actually sleep down there because I'm also planning to make them a cave, but I figured I would try. Now, using the New World building pieces here, I'm going to frame out this whole viewing house. Nothing too crazy here. And we're going to have to use 2 grids since our stairs don't actually line up with any sort of doorway that I can use here, but that's okay. More about that later. And don't you worry, I can see you fretting over this. I'm gonna add some supports, okay? I can hear you yelling about it already. No one likes floating buildings around here, huh? And I absolutely love these wolf-etched glass panels, and I want to use them here for sure. Pretty sure they're from the New World DLC that brought in the timber wolves, so these are perfect. And now that those are placed, I'm going to finish off this viewing house with some more glass paneling all the way around. And see, this is what it's looking like right now. Now I'm going to work on the other grid to finish framing out this whole viewing house, starting with the door and working my way to the 2 sides. I do need to use some non-grid pieces to help fill in these last spaces that are much smaller than the traditional grid wall. And to further fill this in, I am just going to double up on the pillars. Probably not the best way to fill in this hole, but it's what I'm gonna do. Inside the viewing house, I'm going to add a few different education boards and a speaker to help people in here get educated while they're looking at our little pups from way up here. Now the last thing that we need to do to finish this off is to fill in the roof. And since this is not fully built on the grid, this is not going to fully cover it, so I'm going to have to build quite a bit of an overhang on the backside here. But once the whole roof is built, I'm just going to select the whole thing, pull it off the grid. It's gonna have its own grid too. And then I'm going to use X for advanced movement so that way I can pull it forward and create a bit of an overhang here in the front instead, and have a smaller overhang in the back. Now all there is left to do is to cover up the top part with the appropriate building pieces for the front and the back. And for the front, I'm going to name it. I love the letters, but I need more of them. This is our Timber Wolves viewing house. Perfect. If you group them together, it makes it really easy to duplicate them, offset them ever so slightly, and then you can color the back one black, or any color really. I just like to use black to give it more of that bubble letter effect. I'm going to place a few of my golden wolf statues down here as placeholders for what I'm going to do later in this area. And I don't want to forget to add the bedding down here under the viewing house. I hope that they do come and sleep down here sometimes. First, I'm going to fill in the rest of the barrier just with some rocks, nothing too complicated. There will be no other viewing besides the viewing house for the wolves. Over here on the end is where the keepers are going to be able to enter the habitat, so I'm going to make sure that I cover that with some rocks to help blend it into the back wall and prevent any of our wolves from escaping. For the den, I'm going to be using this one that I found on the workshop by this creator here, and since the bedding was down so much lower than where I actually wanted the den to be, I have to pull out the bedding, fix the terrain, and then we'll put the bedding back inside. And I want to add some coolers in here to help keep up with all this snow, but it seems like I'm having a bit of a power problem. I think I just need to add some additional solar panels over here, and then I'm going to paint in some snow in some areas of that around the habitat, and I'm going to also use this snowy rock set by this creator here that I found on the workshop to add a little more dimension to this build. Sinking some into the sidewalls too to also make it look like the snow has rested in some of the natural formations of the rock. For foliage, I am not going to add too much more than just a few dead trees and some of these nice pretty yellow pines, and finishing it off with some much needed habitat items. Lots of food enrichment and lots of toys for them to play with. Now let's do a nice glow up for our entrance. And see? I told you I was gonna cover up those fences in the background. I don't even know why I made them. That's how it be sometimes. And that is our Timberwolf habitat all done. I really like the way the viewing house turned out with the glass floor and the wolf etched glass panels. It really adds something nice to this area. And our wolves have plenty of space to roam around. I did accidentally forget to hit record when I popped them into here, but would you believe it? I was green across the board with them too. That's 3 for 3 right now. Seriously, I am on a roll. Although now that I've said something, I'm probably gonna mess up the next one pretty badly. Oh no. Oh no, they're starting a howl.
Gary, quit it. You're gonna start a howl.
I didn't start it.
And now we're never gonna hear the end of it. That's right, guys. Get it all out of your system. Come on. keep on howling. It's like music to my ears, right? Oh, and look, they stopped. Except this one. This one didn't quite get the memo that it's time to quit. She just keeps going. I'm gonna rename her. Her name is going to be Awoo. Timberwolves, or gray wolves, are social animals living and hunting in packs of 2 to 12. A typical pack is composed of an alpha male and an alpha female, the pack leaders, their pups, and several subordinates or juvenile wolves. In general, only the dominant male and female breed to prevent the pack from becoming too large. The alpha female then chooses a den site and gives birth to a litter of about 6 pups, who will reach maturity in 2 to 3 years. If a subordinate wolf feels a strong inclination to breed and his or her attempts to mate are denied by the alpha pair, the subordinate wolf may leave the pack. However, leaving the safety of the group can prove to be a dangerous choice for a lone wolf, who may have to travel hundreds of miles to find new territory and or a mate. One interesting fact is that not all gray wolves are gray. Although they are called gray wolves, they actually range in color from brownish gray to all black to even all white. And I didn't know if you guys noticed in the flyover shot, but I did add Awoo and the alpha male to the front here. I swear, if googly eyes are not in the next game, riots. Absolutely riot. Oh no! My tiger! He died. Oh, it's very sad. I don't even know his name. Anyways, back to the wheel for more fun. Ooh, and more fun we shall have. The Mandrill. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little intimidated. That's a big monkey. And for the theme, we're going to be working with Australia and Arctic. Now you want to give me Arctic. Thank you. I mean, okay, let's see what we can come up with. I kind of want to make a monkey island. Well, like, not really an island, but I also want to use water as the main way to keep them from the guests. Also, I need to remember to add climbing structures for enrichment for these guys as well. Looks like we got a couple of girls and a male in the trade center, which is good. I'm gonna pick these guys up. I may have to just watch the trade center for a few minutes because I need more females. They are happiest in a troop of 5 or more, but we'll do that later. First, I'm going to dig the ditch that I want to use for the moat, that I'm going to use for their barrier. And in hindsight, I should have built the moat walls first and then dug out the ditch from there. But you will see in a minute what I'm talking about. For the moat walls, I'm going to be using the Arctic building wall piece as my base, making sure to place the second piece down just 1 click or 4 meters away, creating a gap in the middle. For the safety fence, I'm going to keep it easy and just use the Australian fence, making sure to angle it down slightly and place it on the edge of the first wall. For the top of the fence, I'm going to use this piece here, the Arctic decorative trellis, and I'm going to use the wall to straighten it out, and then I'm going to line the top with it. Then I'm going to use these rusted metal rods to add some support on either side of the fence that I'm working with right here. And for the very top of the fence, I'm going to use more of these rusted metal rods with the curved piece on the 2 sides and connect it together with another one of those straight rusted rod pieces. And that is our finished moat barrier fence. Before I place the barrier down, I want to add these wooden panels to either side to help block where the terrain is going to leave a bit of a gap between the terrain and the fence. And now that I'm here placing it, you can see that it is much harder to match this very sharp angle that I made for my ditch with these building pieces, so that way they still all line up relatively nicely. And that's what I meant by I should have placed the moat barrier first and then dug out the ditch after that. But we live and we learn. I don't need to make this go all the way around where I'm thinking I want my moat to be either. This is just mostly going to be where the humans, guests, are going to be standing looking at our big monkeys. So this will be our finished moat. This will be the side where the guests can stand and look into the habitat, and the other side will have rocks. And here it is with water in it. And speaking of rocks, I'm going to be using one of my favorites from the workshop by this creator here. She is a bit piece heavy, but what good builder build isn't. I'm also going to be closing the gap over here by the guest fence with this really cute rock barrier that I also love. Pretty sure this one was made by a camel, believe it or not. On the other side, I'm going to be placing another one of these rock walls on this side of the habitat. And now I need to add in the guest path. I'm sorry if I jump around a lot. I do have ADHD, okay? My brain is always scattered and always empty. Let me know if you can relate. Do you also jump around when you build, or do you just stick with one thing until it's 100% done and then move on to the next? I really do when I'm filming. I try to, but I do notice the scatterbrainedness kind of kicks in every once in a while. Any hoodle doodle, I am going to select and delete all of these rocks here in the middle because I want to add a big piece of one-way glass here. This will be their sleeping spot and it will make for a wonderful photo spot for our guests, but I don't want them to get too close and bang on the glass, you know, kids nowadays. So I'm going to be using more of these Australian fences to keep the guests away from the glass. I don't want them irritating our friends. For the middle of the habitat, I'm going to be placing this climbing structure. Since it is so big, I want to make sure that I have enough space to put it. I'm going to be using this Indonesian jungle climbing frame that I found on the workshop by this creator here. Climbing structures are probably one of the things that I don't really care to build for myself, and that is why I always use workshop ones, if you're wondering. Now, let's attempt to make an indoor area for our mandrill and an indoor viewing area for our guests. And to block this out, I'm going to be just using the Australian building grid pieces. I'm also going to start with a full back wall here, and then I'm going to be placing 2 big window holes for the guests so that way they could get a nice view of them hanging out in their inside area when it's a hot day. And also make sure that you use one-way glass here. Gotta respect their privacy. I'm going to also use the Arctic flooring to line the floor with here. And now I'm going to line this whole building with these river murals. I really hope we get some more in Planet Zoo 2. I love how easy they are to decorate walls with. More murals, maybe some flex colored ones, or both. Yeah, I would be okay with both of those options. For this inside area, I'm going to be placing another climbing structure that I found off the workshop by this creator here. Way more talented than I. And now I'm going to be placing their sleeping spot over in the viewing window area over here. It's kind of covered. They can sleep over here. I think it's going to be okay. I wanted to fill in the inside area with bedding too to give more of a scattered bedding look, but these ones are too compact for me, and like I said, I wanted more of a scattered look along the floor. So this is not giving me the look that I want. I also decided that the mandrill would not like walking around on this man-made floor all the time, so it was time to remove it. Instead, I'm just going to color the terrain into a heavy soil and scatter some of these piles of leaf litter all around to give it more of a little something. And finally, I'm going to build up this wall so that way when I place the roof, it doesn't clip into our climbing structures. Now that the monkey's inside area is done, it's time to work on the other monkey's inside area. And by monkey, I mean the guests. I'm going to continue with the Australian pieces to shell out another building, and in this one I will use the Arctic floor. I don't think the guests will appreciate walking on dirt near as much as our mandrill friends. Inside this area for the education, I'm going to be using this pre-made education board by this creator here, and then on the other side I'm going to be placing a custom habitat board. The link to the mod on Nexus will be in the description box if you also want to download these custom boards. I also placed some kids education and stuff and a few benches, and now we're ready to roof. Just going to slot in the Australian roof pieces. Nothing too complicated. And this is what our habitat is looking like so far. And after some modest rock work, and finally our jungle foliage glow up. What do you think? Outdid myself, didn't I? Now while our manager manages our mandrills in quarantine, I am going to place some habitat items down. But first, let's doctor up this area just a little bit more. Starting with another pre-made workshop habitat board. I don't know why there isn't a golden mandrill statue. I need golden animal statues for every species in the next game. It's a need, not a want, Frontier. Going to sprinkle in various pieces of foliage, and to make a bit of a planter box, I'm going to line this area with rocks, and then just fill it in with more shrubbery and stuff. Much better. Inside the habitat, I'm going to be placing toys for enrichment and various feeders to keep them nice and happy. And just in time, because there they are, our 2 cute little ladies and our nice big blue-tushed boy. I love the way this turned out. I'm not gonna lie, I was very apprehensive about starting this build. Don't get me wrong, I love monkeys. but since I'm not very excited about making climbing structures, they're usually left out in my zoos. So I am pretty grateful for the wheel because this wouldn't have happened without the challenge of doing everything that the wheel commands. The workshop helped, and I think it turned out pretty good. Remember, the wheel for the animals and the themes are linked below, and if you have been using the wheel, how's it been going for you? And if you haven't, are you gonna? Male mandrills are the world's largest, most colorful monkey species, famous for the vibrant blue and red skin on their face and their bum-bums, which brightens when they're excited, by the way. And they are the only mammals with blue pigment in their skin, making them stand out beautifully in a crowd. Though they are the largest of all monkeys, they are quite shy and reclusive. They are the gentle giants of the monkey kingdom. Sometimes they shake their head and grin to show their enormous canine teeth, which can be over 5 centimeters or 2 inches long. They may appear scary to us, but it's usually a friendly gesture within the mandrill community. Mandrills are excellent climbers, choosing a different treetop each evening to tuck themselves in for sleep, and their cheeks have built-in pouches that they use to store snacks for later. Who wouldn't want a built-in snack stash? Like hamsters. Time to spin the wheel again and see what we get. The Markhor! Oh, the goat has arrived. Nice. And for our themes, we are going to be building with Indonesia and New World. Not really native to Indonesia, but I do like New World. New World works for me. New World works for everything. I doubt I'm going to be building too much man-made structures anyway, so it's okay. But first, time to feed the masses. I think it's time we add yet another food and drink stop for our guests. They're constantly whining that they want more sustenance to shove in their face holes, so I'm going to be using more of these food trucks because I am obsessed with them. And what goes in the face hole must come out the bum hole, so I think I should also add a toilet here. Then I'm going to spend a bit of time adding a whole bunch of foliage to the back of these trucks. That'll help break it up visually with anything that I plan to place in the back of the trucks later. Like another habitat potentially? Who knows? Just lots and lots of big trees, bushy flowers, and I'm going to finish it off with some rocks that'll help break up the path from the planter visually. None of this is actually needed, but it helps a lot. And there we go! A small pit stop complete with balloons is done. For the Markhor, I really want to try and build using this hill that is already here, and I want to use as little to no terraforming as possible. The fence is going to be really easy to build. The base and main part of the fence is just going to be the New World fence that's already been built for us. And on top of that, I'm going to be putting in one of the Indonesian stained timber beams, which is a flex colored piece, so I'm going to be coloring it into more of a wood color to better match the New World theme. And that's it! Now I'm going to hug the path as tight as I can with this new fence. Now I know what you're thinking. Panda, this little fence isn't going to be enough for our spring-loaded Markhor. No. I'm definitely going to need a double fence here on this one. Don't worry, I hear you. And I'm going to be using mesh, but to frame out the mesh, this time I'm going to be using the Indonesian mossy stone trim pieces. After placing one down, I now have a piece to anchor my mesh to, and after the mesh is down, now I can frame the whole piece minus one side with the trim pieces. Before I line the second barrier up, I'm going to fill in the space in between with some flowers so that way I have a better idea of where I want the barrier to go. The area right before the hill is a little tight, so I want to be able to use as much space as possible for our animals. And now that the flowers are in, I'm going to push this second barrier as close to the flowers as possible, just following along the same path as the first barrier. And this is what it's looking like so far. Using the flex colored rock palette that I found on the workshop by this creator here, I have pulled out the ice, tundra, and snow rocks to use into this habitat. And using these large flat ones, I'm going to make some ledges into this hill that our Markhor can climb up. And right here, I'm going to twist and turn several of our rocks in an attempt to make a bit of a staircase for them. But if I know my Markhor, they're just going to leap up here from the ground level and ignore all this hard work that I'm doing for them. That's okay. We'll pretend it's for the keepers. Now I'm going to use this smaller snow rock to sink into the first layer of rock to make it look like the snow has been caught in the small divots and crevices of the rocks. It's a nice touch and will help sell the illusion in your snow habitats. I suppose you could also do this with desert rocks in a very dry habitat, using the flex rocks for more of a sand color as well. Now I'm going to painfully hand place every single one of these rocks because I like torturing myself. And because I don't want to just copy and paste the layer below and bring it up. I do want it to be a bit different. I'm also going to hand place and rotate all of the back wall rock pieces as well. This is what it's like building on a sculpted map. A lot of hand placing everything so that way it matches the curvature of what you're working with. But that's okay. I've been enjoying the challenge of building on this map I was given as opposed to just building flat. What do you guys prefer to build on? Sculpted or flat maps? Do you prefer to make your own terrain? I'm really bad about that. That's why I'm kind of enjoying the sculpted right now. Now I don't want to ignore the Indonesian building theme, so since it is a flex color, I'm going to actually use it for their sleepy house for the Markhor. And I'm going to recolor it into more of a gray and dark gray to help match the rocks that are already in their habitats. I've had several people ask me how to put barriers in the doorways, and this is how you do it. First, I place the door building piece that I'm going to be using, and then using the null barrier, I place a panel right along the open door piece. I like to shrink it so it's about this size here as well. And now you just select your door and slot it into place, nice and clean. To help fill in the gap all around the door, for this particular build, I'm going to be using some rocks. They're nice and gray, just like our build, and work very well for the Markhor theme. Don't forget to pull a copy of them through the wall to the other side as well with Control X, and that will duplicate your selection and put you in advanced movement mode, making this very seamless and easy to do. Now I'm just going to fill in the box with some more walls and some window pieces by the path so the guests can peep into our Markhor sleeping in their little house. I'm going to add some bedding in here too, and color the terrain paint with a heavy soil since this will be a high traffic area for them. Then I'm going to fill in this whole habitat with snow, color in some dirt to break it up a bit, and finish off this build with a simple roof. While our Markhor are getting checked out by our team of vets, I'm going to start placing in our habitat enrichment items. I did want to start by placing this nice climbable mountain for them, but as you can see, it flattens way too much of the terrain for my liking. So they're just going to have to be enriched by the climbing my makeshift walls and ledges have given them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off this habitat with the usual suspects of food and water and toys. And then I dot in a few foliage items, not much. I read that these goats are pretty destructive and usually eat plants before they even have a chance to take root. Next time you visit a Markhor habitat, tell me, do they have a lot of foliage in and around their habitat? Or are they indeed just weed whackers with horns? Vet checks done, it's time to place our Markhor Hydra in their new habitat. Isn't she just a thing of beauty? Oh man, we were so close. Look how close we were to getting all green. Dang it, I broke my streak. This habitat turned out exactly how I wanted it to. It's not too big, it's not too small, it is just perfect for our new Markhor family. And hopefully soon, we'll be seeing little babies running around on this hillside. Placing every single rock was tedious and time-consuming, but oh so well worth it. In the end, with shots like these, just look how happy they seem. Markhor are indeed large goat boys. The males have very large corkscrew horns that can grow up to 160 centimeters or 60 inches in length. And that is wild. That must be so heavy. You imagine the headache? While Markhor use them in defense against predators, they will also use them against other males when fighting for a mate. They'll fight each other by lunging and locking horns and even pushing each other off balance on the Rocky Mountains. Just yeet their competition right over the edge. Markhors do not like to be in deep snow or cold temperatures. They prefer to be in dry terrains. Wait, why did I make their habitat snowy? I thought these guys were in the tundra category. Whoopsie. They are known to be one of the smelliest goat species. It's thought that their smell might help them repel predators and mark their territory. And the word Markhor is derived from two Persian words, mar, which means snake, and khor, which means eater. So in folklore, it is believed that they are able to kill snakes by using their horns, and then they eat them. Although there's no evidence of this actually being true. It is more likely that the Markhor have the ability to kill snakes with their strong hooves by just stomping on them, and that their horns actually resemble a snake due to their features. Aww, aren't those babies just the cutest? Can we put them in a petting zoo? It doesn't even have to be open to the public. Just let me pet them. Back to our wheel for another spin. Let's see what we're working with next. The Eastern Blue-Tongue Lizard. Do you know why their tongue is blue? I know, and I'll tell you after this build. Just wondering if you know. And our themes are going to be Indian and Oceania. I'm going to be placing them here by our bistro's bathrooms. I'm going to start out with just a basic exhibit box and throw our new friends in here and set the temperature and enrichment items. I do have these guys fully researched thanks to our reptile-only zoo, so I'm going to be able to set these little guys up from the get-go. Then using the Oceania building themes, I'm going to frame out the box and the area that I'm going to be making a bit of an expanded portion to our exhibit to. And since I am not playing with any building mods, I need to get creative when it comes to the ground, and to do that, I'm going to have to branch out of our building themes and grab some plaster. The floor piece is what I want. I'm going to slot that in next to our existing exhibit, and because it is a flex color piece, I'm going to be trying my best to color match it to the sand. I mean, I don't think it looks too bad. Next, to continue to sell the illusion of sand, I'm going to be using several of the smaller desert rocks to clutter up the ground a bit and try my best to make it look like the exhibit right next to it. I'm also going to be using various plants that look like they're in the box the game decorated for us. It's way easier to do this with the exhibit prop mod off the Nexus site. If you want something that'll match the existing style perfectly, that mod is for you. But as you can see, we can still achieve the basic idea of an expanded exhibit just by using the in-game pieces, so don't you fret, console players, you can do this too. Don't forget to add some glass to your faux side, and in the back I'm going to be placing a light, and I'm going to change the bulb to blue to indicate that maybe this is the night side of the exhibit and the other side is the day side. Now while I sit here and try and figure out the roof, don't you worry, I do know that blue and red lights are not needed for reptiles and can actually be dangerous by messing up their natural circadian rhythm for these cold-blooded cuties, leaving them in a state of stress. So don't at me, okay? I just like doing it visually in the game. Roof and overhang is looking pretty good. I am just going to add a support pillar here and then some education to finish it off. And there we go! What do you guys think, eh? Doesn't it just make you want to get in there and learn all about lizards? Anyone? No? No takers, eh? Oh well. The first thing to note is that in nature, not everything looks the same to everyone. Birds, reptiles, and many invertebrates see frequencies of light invisible to us, such as UV. The blue tongue reflects that UV, and therefore looks even more bright and shocking to these animals than it does to us, and thus makes the tongue a great warning signal to predators. When kept as pets, they are super easy to hand feed. But when a blue-tongued lizard gets used to associating your hands with lunch, you might find that they become a little hard to handle. Finger biting is very common in these situations, and although they're not poisonous, they do have incredible draw strength and can latch on really hard. You know, my bearded dragon tries to bite my finger sometimes too. Something about my shiny nail polish just seems to set him off. I don't know. And that and the one brain cell bouncing around in there doesn't always seem to be firing properly. And let's spin again. Come on, we're on a roll. Give me something good. The red ruffed lemur. Oh no, more monkeys. Yay. I know exactly where I'm gonna put these little troublemakers. And for themes, I'm rolling with Europe and classic, both excellent building pieces. So this should be relatively painless for me. Critically endangered? Oh, don't you worry. Old Panda here will let you get your freak on, guys. And guests can interact. I don't think I want the guests to interact. Guests can look from afar with the medium amount of effort I'm about to put into this, okay? I want this to connect with our Mandrill build, but first I'm going to have to move some stuff around in here. I'm gonna move the kiddo stuff over here to this wall over in the back. And this bench, I'm gonna have to get that out of here. Now stepping outside, I'm going to work on the shell. I don't need to mirror the mandrill habitat because they just don't need that kind of space. As it is, this is already going to be way bigger than they will need, and if I roll any other lemur species, they might just get thrown in here too. I'm also going to be using these large openings here for windows so the guests will be able to see inside of their inside area. And then this white building here will be actually where the guests can enter and see into the habitat. After the path is in, I'm going to cover it with the Arctic flooring, but of course, sculpted map, we are kind of on an incline here, so I think I'm just going to make it look like there are steps that lead up to the window. Inside the lemur house, I'm going to be placing down some of these base game pre-built climbing structures all around here, wherever they'll seem to fit. Some of these are just way too big, so I'm going to be sticking with the smaller ones for now. I'm also going to be adding some enrichment to encourage them to come in here for the guests' viewing pleasure. I also need to make sure that I add a staff facility to the back so the keepers can enter and exit this habitat with ease. And after placing another keeper hut and staff room, I'm going to join all this up with pathing. Don't we just love the logo-filled staff paths? They're just great, am I right? I can hear the crickets of no one agreeing with me. I'm going to make another moat. And we're going to make it right this time. If there's one thing monkeys hate, it's water, like trying to get a teenage boy to take a shower. For the base, I'm going to be using the painted brick wall pieces, placing one down and then another 4 meters away to create a nice gap between the two. For the safety fence, I'm going to be using this European cast iron fence tilted ever so slightly and placed on the edge. I guess it's in case if a monkey does fall in the water, it would encourage them to get back up on their side and not the guest's side. And for the very top, I did dance around the idea of using this planter. It does look pretty cute up here. It's a unique piece to use, and I really think that it worked out wonderfully for this moat fence that I was making. I should really go back in and fill it with flowers now that I'm thinking about it. And that's that! Moat fence is ready to be installed. I'm going to sink this into the ground and just start laying it out where I want the guests to stand. It doesn't have to spread over like a really large distance, just a big enough area for where you want your guests to congregate. The rest of the barrier can be made of rocks if you want. Don't overcomplicate this, okay? It doesn't have to be stressful, I promise. After it's in place where you want it, use the push terrain tool and the flatten to surface terrain tools to quickly carve out your water area. And I'm going to be using more of these painted brick pieces. These are non-grid pieces, so that way I can freely place them, and I'm going to make a lip all the way around the moat to help hide the edges where the terrain doesn't quite meet all the way up with the walls without clipping through our moat. And pretty soon, it'll look something like this. Now I'm going to place the path, and let me know if anybody else has this problem. My two paths that are seemingly on the same playing field will not connect. Why? Why are paths in this game like this? To quickly finish off the back barrier wall and any gaps around the moat, I'm going to be using this rock wall set that I found in the workshop by this creator here. I like to use these flat rocks because they add a seamless barrier without the bulk that the boulders tend to leave behind. And this is the full footprint of our red ruffed lemur habitat, and any other lemur that I might happen to roll. Right in the middle of this habitat, I'm going to be adding some monkey houses that I have used before, and another just one of the base game pre-built ones to better fill in this area with stuff for our lemurs to do, along with a few more enrichment items and a water tap, although I suppose they could just drink out of the moat. Then I'm going to go off on a bit of a side mission here and start roofing everything. I'm using the slate roof pieces for the lemur house first, just using the basic pieces to fill in this roof. When you build on the grid and use basic rectangles, it really makes roofing super easy. And let's face it, roofing is half the battle when it comes to creative building. I'm going to then add a nice big habitat board with some custom information on it for our red ruffed lemurs and a donation bin before finalizing the roof on this build as well. I really love the color of these copper roof pieces and decided that they would look really nice with the white of the building here. So first I'm going to choose the shape for my roof, and I really like the way that this is looking right now. Then I'm going to use some of these trim pieces where the two different roof pieces meet up, fill in the wall with the right shapes, and then we're also going to create a bit of an overhang that the grid just doesn't give us. So what I'm going to do to do that is I'm going to select a row of my roof pieces, split them from the group, and then I'm going to use Control X to duplicate these roof pieces and put myself in advanced movement so they're still on the same level. And I'm just going to pull it forward just a little bit. Also make sure you shift it up and down just to prevent any Zed fighting. And now you should have a nice overhang on your roof. Let's finish off this guest house with a sign for our red ruffed lemur friends. For foliage, I'm starting off with some lilies in the water, some of my favorite pieces. Tons of palms in the back, just make sure you turn your climbing off on those trees so they can't escape. And honestly, just some of every single plant that I can find. These guys are native to some of the most lush places, so I want to add in a lot without clogging up our viewing areas. Bushes, shrubs, trees, more bushes. I even add some leaves to the water to make it all feel more real. I just wish that there was a tropical version of buffalo grass. But sadly there's not. Oh well, I'm just going to make do with the long grass terrain brush tool. Let's adopt a bunch of these guys and add them in here. Or not. There are so many boys. Like, so many. Man, the trade center is a total sausage party today. I guess that's just how it is sometimes. That's okay though. I did manage to find a few good girls on there. Good girls, who am I kidding? I'll take bad girls, mediocre girls, half-dead girls. I just want some ladies in here, please. And here they come, one at a time. They're slowly being thrown in here. And how did I do? Oh my god, look at that! Again, this close. So close. Oh man, I'm just too good. I'm just too good. Oh no! Awoo is gonna die! Not Awoo! She was the best girl who didn't know when to shut up. And now the silence is deafening and I miss your Awoos already. Anywho, back to the lemurs. I love these colored signs. I really need to do these more often for sure. Lemur house turned out really good. I don't normally build indoor and outdoor viewing areas, so I'm always happy with myself when I manage to pull it off, and to pull it off well. This moat turned out so good. I definitely deserve head pats for that one. This habitat is so green. It's filled with lots of fun things for our lemurs to play and explore with. It has everything mischievous little monkeys could ever want and more. I can't wait to catch some babies just running up and down these climbing structures later. The red ruffed lemur is one of the largest of lemurs, and they can weigh as much as a large house cat. At the other end of the spectrum though, lemurs are known for their little tiny heads. Of all the primates, animals known for their relatively large brains, lemurs have the smallest. In some studies, red ruffed lemurs have been assessed for their abilities to do simple arithmetic. Don't be fooled though, it is simple arithmetic, not this common core crap they have our kids learning. As fruit eaters, they swallow a lot of seeds, and these seeds come out the other end more or less intact. In fact, some may come out even better conditioned to germinate than when they went in. Lemur scat plays a critical role in the regeneration of degraded forests by spreading seeds from plants. If we humans as a species could just step back for a moment, ecosystem engineers like the red ruffed lemur would be more than happy to do our tree planting for us. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sad about Awoo, but the wheel must continue to spin. Wolverine! Oh, my favorite X-Men. Oh yes, I love me a short, angry, hairy king. But seriously, they're so cute. And for our building themes, this time the wheel says conservation and fiesta. Conservation is one of my favorite packs. The building pieces are top tier, chef's kiss. And it is a must-have pack for backstaging areas. As you can see, I'm going to be putting them back behind the bistro. To keep the guests from jumping down there, I'm going to be lining the patio with the fiesta fence. It's kinda yellow, like a certain mutant spandex. To make sure Logan can't jump out of his habitat, I'm going to be making a safety fence out of these conservation gutter pipes. We're unconventional around here, and to stay in the realm of unconventionalism, I'm going to be filling the middle in with the conservation trellis wall pieces. See? So cute! Now merge these all in a group and move it into place. Now look at that! We have our yellow, and we have our blue. Logan's home is almost ready. Well, I mean, not really. I still have a little bit to do. but I'm liking it so far. For the back wall, I'm going to be putting down this snow and tundra rock wall piece, and I'm going to be entering into the group and using multi-select for several of these rocks, so that way I can manipulate this wall into a different shape. Sometimes y'all don't need a straight wall, and that's okay, but you can still use these rock formations that are on the workshop. Just select different parts of it and move it into the shape that you want or need. For the habitat gate in this little hidey house, I'm going to be using the conservation pieces. Again, I love these building pieces. This doesn't need to be very big. I think I'm going to be just placing Logan in here all by his lonesome for right now. You might get the girl later. You never know. But the Wolverines actually have one of those dens in the habitat tab, so more than likely he's not even going to use this little house. Now it is time for a nice glow up transition. Here is our before and after. Much better for our solitary king that is going to be placed in here. And here he is. Welcome home, bub. I need to rename him to Logan. And again, I did really good with my terrain guesswork for the paints. Here is our quick little flyover of our completed Wolverine habitat. It gives the guest a great view of our little brooding king, and it is the perfect size for him. And who knows, maybe he'll have a little family in there one day. Maybe. I might have to get a honey badger, name it Deadpool, and stick it in there just to torment him. Just for funsies. And no, my fun facts will not involve a shirtless Hugh Jackman. Sorry. Trust me, I'm just as disappointed as you are. Real Wolverines are still pretty vicious. They are known for their tenacity and fierceness beyond their size, like a Pomeranian. They have battled grizzly bears, bull mooses, wolves, and they've won. Considering they weigh about 30 to 50 pounds, that's pretty darn impressive. Wolverines are predators and scavengers. They'll eat whatever they can. They would love to eat a whole moose or a deer for that matter if they could. Their scientific name is gulo, which comes from Latin word for glutton. They're large, stocky animals that look like small bears, but they're actually the largest member of the weasel family. Oh, you smell that? I sense the end of the video is coming. Give me something good, wheel. Oh, the eastern brown snake. Well, we can't end on an exhibit animal. That's not exciting. We love our reptiles though, don't worry. New World and Rustic. I feel like I've done that. Have I done that? Probably. Well, let's blow through this and spin again, shall we? I'm going to place them here by our striped hyenas. And since there is a window here, I won't be making an extended exhibit this time. I'm going to be using the 3D facade on all the windows except the one I want the guests to view our snakes from. And again, these guys are fully researched, so they will get the benefit from all of the enrichment goodies. I'm going to quickly line the box with some New World building grid pieces, and then I'm going to be using the New World architecture beams to give the build a little bit more accents to the wood in the corners and along the glass openings. And then for the roof, I am just going to be placing one of these glass modern roof toppers to finish it off. Last but not least, I'm going to be adding our education and our donation bins. And there we go! Quick and simple build for our eastern brown snake, which is the world's second most venomous land snake, native to Australia. Just another reason never to go down under. The adult eastern brown snake is variable in color. The upper side of the snake can range from true to the name brown to paler, russet, olive, orange, gray, or near black. I mean, I got a white one. When the snake takes its threat seriously, it squares up, raising its head and more than a third of its total body length off the ground. It curves its body, not flattening its head like a lot of other snakes do, and faces its threat with its mouth open. Being long and tall this way, they're able to hit people well above the knee, avoiding snake boots and making them very dangerous to catch. Leave the danger noodles alone, people. Just back away slowly, okay? Alright, Wheel. This is it. I need something good, something monumental to end the video with. Holy Taco Bell, Batman! Giant pandas! Yes! Oh, I'm so excited! My soul animal! Cuddly, lazy, clumsy, all the things I am. And for the themes, come on, Wheel, don't screw me now. You can't. Classic? Okay, I can do an East Asian. Oh, it's about to go down. Now, working with the terrain, this is the spot that I want to build on. So this is our before shots. You are not ready for this. And here's our after. I know. It's amazing, right? How did I do this? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first thing that I had to battle with was the path. Always try and build your path and then your habitat around that, because it usually doesn't work the other way around. I wanted to use these bridge pieces as our walkway, so first I placed the bridge pieces down to give me an idea of how steep the slope needs to be for our paths. I wanted to use just the nice sloped ramp for our path and not the stairs, but that just didn't angle sharply enough to work with the bridge pieces, so I did end up using stairs instead. And once the stairs were placed, I was able to then use advanced movement to hide the stairs within the bridge. At the end of the path is where I'm going to start the build for the panda's sleeping spot and premium viewing opportunities for the guests. And of course, I'm going fully with the East Asian pieces. These are the dry stone wall building pieces, and yes, I'm going to make another pagoda. I don't know why pandas and pagodas, it just always seemed to make sense to me. It's my favoriteest thing to build, probably because it's easy. Also, I was planning on releasing a full speed build of this habitat. This is just the short and dirty version of it. Now that the bottom layer of the shell is done, I'm going to be using the East Asian fence to keep the guests from jumping down there, although I would gladly hop the fence and take the fall damage to cuddle with some pandas. Bucket list that will never happen would be to cuddle a baby panda. I swear I would cry. Now down here I want to add their bedding, but I don't want the bedding to manipulate the terrain under it. So first I'm going to place an oval of pathing, and then I'm going to place the bedding on top of the path, and it shouldn't push the terrain down at all. Then I just need to delete the path, and voila! Bedding on a slope. I tried to place down some education, and that revealed to me that there's no power out here. So I need to place another solar panel somewhere around here. And after that issue is fixed, I'm going to place a custom donation bin and an educator talk point, some benches for our guests, and a couple of trash cans to deter people from throwing their garbage at our wonderful little bears. Then it is time to start on the roof and the tower portion of this build. Again, since I am on the grid, this is very easy to snap all together, and it builds up very quickly. Then I add lots of trimming and decorative windows, which really brought the whole build to life in my opinion. Look how good that looks! And now with the rock barrier in place, I did forget to record that part, but I just did the same tactic that I did with the Wolverine, where I just took one of those straight walls, broke it apart to create my own barrier. Now I'm going to start manipulating the terrain just a little bit so that way I can add in the water feature that I wanted to add here with some waterfalls. I need to make a bowl with the terrain to keep the water in, and then build the illusion with the waterfall boxes that these two water pools are actually connected. And this is what our waterfalls look like in play mode, not sped up at all. And to cover up the waterfall boxes, I'm going to use my tried and true rocks. Love me some rocks. They help hide the little imperfections of the build. Got a weird spot? Just stick a rock on it and forget it. I'm also going to be using various rock ridge formations from the workshop by this creator here. Their rock formations are perfect and fill up a habitat space so nicely. I really like the way that it ended up looking around the waterfall. And lastly, I'm going to spend some time filling in the waterfall with some of these splash effects. And of course, it's going to start raining right when I was going to show you the final look. Then it is time to add in some foliage, starting with a few hidden reeds in and around the water area. Not too much, just a few poking through. And then a few cherry blossoms that are just needed within the panda build. And tons of bamboo all around the back walls for some extra snacking. Who doesn't love a good snack? Then I'm going to add in some buffalo grass and a few fields of flowers and some shrubbery. Trying not to go too overboard here. Our pandas are now done in quarantine and ready to enter their habitats. And here they are! Oh, I love all of them so much. Look how cute! Oh, and again, I did very well with the terrain. Just a bit too much long grass and not enough short grass. I need a keeper with a lawnmower over here. I am so incredibly proud of this build. The path was something that I would never do, so it was so cool to see an idea I had actually come to life in this game. I really like this guest education stop spot, complete with our golden statues of our lovely pandas, of course. The view down into their cuddle puddle is going to make for some wonderful picture opportunities for everybody. A panda in their natural habitat, sleeping. Who wouldn't want that gig? The rock wall and foliage really help bring it all together. Don't be afraid of foliage and rocks. They are your friends, I promise. This waterfall turned out really well. Ideally, I wanted a stream running more through the habitat, but since the habitat was on such a hill, it just made it so difficult to do. I'm hoping for a better water tool in Planet Zoo 2. And how could you just not love this pagoda? I am obsessed with this build. I love it so much. Again, I'm planning on making a longer speed build of this habitat. I have all the footage except the rock wall being placed, so just let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see. I also have extended footage of almost all of my builds. If you want to see something specifically, let me know. Panda diets are 99% bamboo. On average, they eat up to 50 pounds of fresh bamboo leaves, stems, and shoots daily. And because of all that fiber-dense material, they poop almost the same amount every day too. You might be wondering, what's the other 1% of their diet? Well, it's far more infrequent, but they might eat grass, fruits, insects, and even eggs. In addition to sand and soil, their brains aren't very big. Interestingly, giant pandas have lost the ability to taste protein because of their plant-based diets. These bears are chewing machines. A panda's skull and jaws, chewing muscles, and teeth are adapted for crushing and chewing bamboo. And scientists can't agree why they have black and white coats. Pandas don't have any natural predators, so it might not be for camouflage. On the other hand, they also don't hunt, so their markings probably aren't to confuse prey either. Maybe their fur pattern is an invite during breeding season, or a warning for other bears to stay away. Despite spending most of their day resting, sleeping, and eating, some giant pandas enjoy climbing trees and hanging out among the high branches. Ticking off to year 50, we are flourishing. The zoo is chugging away, just about 5 stars across the whole board. Tickets are sitting at $65 dues per guest, and with over 4,000 guests per year, we are very green in our profits. Our vets have killed it in the research department, with every single new species being 100% completely researched. Our guests are green, but there are definitely some needs that need to be addressed sooner rather than later. As always, they need more food, water, maybe some Red Bulls. I always seem to struggle with education, even though I have multiple talking points and education boards plastered on all of my habitats. I don't know, man. I just think the guests are dumb. And our Siberian Tiger continues to top the charts as our most appealing habitat species, with our blue tongue lizard being our more appealing exhibit species. Kicking off year 50, we are rolling with the spectacle flying fox. I could practically hear my brother's excitement from here, and how can I blame him? Look at these little guys. The theme we're rolling with for this build will be New World, always a solid choice, and Europe, both really good themes. Great piece count. Get excited, people, because I sure am. Now, when I built the Tomb of the Fruit Eaters for our Egyptian fruit bats in the OG 100-year menagerie, so many of you told me about the incredible zoos and sanctuaries all around the world that do, in fact, allow you to walk into the enclosures and be in there while the bats are just flying over your head. First, that is wild, and keep feeding me all that delicious information. And second, clearly I need to get out more. I'm going to make this a walkthrough with outside viewing access as well for people who don't want to risk the guano bombs that might fall from the ceiling. To make the cave side of the enclosure, I'm going to be using the same rock formation that I used in the Tomb of the Fruit Eaters by Caesar Creates. Fun fact, I met Caesar. Really cool dude. When Frontier invited several creators out to the studio in March for a sneak peek at Planet Zoo 2, Eben, Zoof, and I were down into the hotel lobby just waiting to get some food. Well, little did we know it would take the hotel over 2 hours to seat us, but because they took so long finding us some seating, we were able to be joined by Plastic Swans, Miss T-Rex, Caesar, and later on, Rudy showed up. Leaf couldn't hang though, he was too tired. Jet lag and all. Plus, I think he hit the ground running, sightseeing and all when he landed, so by the time he got back to the hotel and his head hit the pillow, there was no waking him. If y'all want to know more about the visit, I can make a video about it. It's all because of your love and support with these videos that I was even able to be invited out anyway, so truly, thank you. Finishing up the back of the cave wall and the ceiling, later I'm gonna have to raise this up a bit. I don't think I caught it on camera because the cave ceiling is just not high enough. It does make it easier to build on these exhibit shelves shells if you leave the mesh walls up so that way you can still see the outline of the exhibit. A tip I need to listen to more often. For the mesh side, I'm going to be using just some mesh with a little New World fence post to make the sides of the mesh look like they're connected to something. And for the bottom, I'm going to use this New World fence just to give it a little foundation. After that's all grouped together, I'm going to turn on the mesh for the exhibit so I can see where the walls are and just line the sides of the exhibit walls with the walls that I made. Now, you could just leave the mesh on and put the fences on the bottom to add a little something something to it if you wanted to, but I'm extra and I wanted to make it all myself. I'm like a toddler. No, I do myself. For the next part, I'm going to select the entire bottom layer, use Ctrl X to duplicate it and put me in advanced movement so that way I could just pull it up to the top. And then just copy and drag the end pieces to make sure that the area above the door is also blocked. And I don't really like this trim in the center here, so I'm going to select the New World fence and pull them all the way up to the top. I did duplicate it at first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep them, but I don't, so I'm just going to delete them. I think it looks better this way personally. For the top, I'm going to use angle snap and just flip the mesh 90 degrees and just fill in the top with it. Easy peasy. And for the area where it doesn't quite meet our cave ceiling, I'm going to use a smaller piece of mesh, angle it so it just fits in this space ever so perfectly, effectively closing it off so we don't have any runaway bats. Even though I don't think the animals can technically escape from the walkthrough exhibits. We are trying to keep the realism alive over here though, just a little bit. Next, I'm going to add some power nearby and the path, both inside and outside the exhibits. I also wanted to add some sort of covering for the guests that are walking outside to see the bats, so I landed on this New World canopy. And since it doesn't seem quite big enough, I'm actually going to use angle snap and flip it 180 degrees and kind of put them together like so. And then using the European marquee beams, I'm going to connect these to the ground so they're not just floating in the sky. And as you can see, it does connect kind of in the middle of my path, so I'm going to have to rework my path size as well to fit better in here nicely. I also add some horizontal marquee beams to add a little bit of stability and, I don't know, decoration for this walkthrough area. For the terrain, I am going to blend in the dirt from the cave towards the path and into the green of the exhibit. Then I'm going to sink in some rocks for the cave floor, and taking some inspiration from my newly found friend Miss T-Rex and her love for grunging it up, I am going to add these moss decals and recolor them a yellowish color and hope that you're all convinced that it's dried back guano. Pretty sure that bat droppings are more like pellets, but just let me have some fun here, okay? Then with the proper biomes selected, I am just going to decorate the inside with some foliage. I added some bushes to line the mesh with. I also added some vines at the cave opening. And then I looked it up if flying foxes eat tomatoes, and fun fact, they do, especially when they're in captivity. Fruit bats do enjoy tomatoes, so I decided to add a little tomato garden right here in the exhibit. I used some of the mulch to lay down for our soil, and then just nestled in various sizes of tomato plants. And then I lined the soil with some rocks to help keep in the water, and lastly, I added a sprinkler for our little garden. I finished off the inside with some grass, and then I used the different sizes rocks to make a bit of a walkway area through the exhibit. Add some education, and we're just about done. Now let's do a little glow up for outside our new exhibit. There we go, so much better. Let's go ahead and throw our fruit bats in here, and let's all just sit back and watch Past Panda be dumb together. And there was a part that Past Panda thought, just briefly, why do I have all the enrichment unlocked? I haven't researched this species yet. Weird. Must just be shared with all the bats. Oh well. I also added a big education screen out here in the walkway, realizing it was upside down and flipped it. No, I still haven't realized my huge mistake yet. Don't worry, I will though. And then this was the moment I realized as I was getting B-roll. Wait a minute, these guys look just like the Tomb of the Fruit Eater bats. Yeah, I placed the wrong bats. Hold please.
Failure!
Okay, so I had to sell the whole lot of the other bats, and now I have the right ones, don't worry. At least Past Panda figured it out before leaving the area, right? I added all the new bats, and I changed all the education. This looks so much better. These guys are so much bigger than the other ones. Now I just have to wait for this vet to do the research so that way I could replace our enrichment items in here. But of course, they're taking their sweet time. No raise for them. I really like the way this one turned out, with the part cave and part nature area, including our little tomato garden. Are flying foxes like Egyptian fruit bats? Are there zoos around the world that allow you to walk in with them too? I know these guys are way bigger than our other bat friends. Well, how big do they get? Well, I'm glad you asked. These little guys have a wingspan of over a meter, which is close to 3.5 feet. They're also listed as an endangered species and are under the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act of 1999. Spectacle flying foxes typically live around 12 to 15 years old, but in captivity, they can exceed 30 years of age. Spectacle flying foxes display high social behaviors, forming groups known as camps. A single camp of this species may contain as many as tens of thousands of bats. They spend very little time sleeping. The daytime hours are typically spent in these camps located in the upper canopy of the forests, and at dusk the bats will leave their camps to forage, often flying long distances up to 43 miles or 70 kilometers per night. Spectacle flying foxes drink both fresh water and salt water, which they do by flying over the water's surface while skimming up the required water. And let's go ahead and spin that wheel again and see what we're building for next. Ooh, the Axolotl, mud puppy. I always stop to look at these guys whenever I'm at the reptile store getting new creepy crawlies to feed Mr. Roni. They are so cute. And the themes we're using is East Asia and North Africa. I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do with water exhibits. I'm going to extend it. Yes, you can make an extended water exhibit without mods. It can be done, and I'm gonna show you how. After placing down your exhibit, I'm going to make a shell around it. Then I'm going to use the glass barrier and get as close to the wall of the exhibit as I can. You cannot snug it right up to the box. It will not let you, but that's okay. We're gonna hide this gap later, I promise. After placing the water in, you can see that it is a bit higher than our exhibit, which is fine. I did try to dig down, hoping that maybe the water level will lower, but then I remember that's not how water works in Planet Zoo. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm going to bring the exhibit up a bit just to match with the water levels. Axolotls can't go out of the water anyways, so it's okay if the viewing area is just water. I'm going to use a piece of plaster at the bottom of our expanded part of the exhibit and try and get it as close to the sand color as I can. And this is what we're looking like so far. Now to cover up the gap, I'm going to use some nice reeds in the middle of these two exhibits. And then to further cover the seams of this build, I'm going to use some of these East Asia beams to go all around the whole build. And then I'm going to try and place rocks and plants inside the expanded portion to just try and match the real exhibit the best I can. Finishing off with this mural on the side, and then I'm going to place a roof on the top with some trim. Time to add this absolutely cute axolotl sign to the front, along with some letters spelling out exactly what you would see if you were standing right here. And finally, education and donation bins are added nearby. Axolotls are a type of salamander. However, unlike other amphibians, they don't lose their gills as they grow. In fact, their gills actually appear as feathery appendages on the outside of their bodies, and makes them super recognizable. So they are unable to live on land and spend all of their time in the water. Female axolotls lay up to 1,000 eggs at a time. That is a lot of baby axolotl. These eggs sink into the bed of lakes or rivers and hatch after about 2 weeks, with the babies left to just fend for themselves right out of the egg. And if an axolotl loses a limb, it doesn't scar, it regenerates. These salamanders can grow back not just legs and tails, but also parts of their heart, spine, and even their brain. One reason scientists have brought them into labs since the 1800s and why researchers still study them today. Oh no! What a sad day it is in the menagerie today, folks. R.I.P. Logan. We hardly knew ye. Well, my vet sure is taking their sweet time getting to him, aren't they? This is what happens when they don't have work zones. The promptness goes right out the window. It's okay though, we're just gonna stick a new Wolverine in here and no one will know the difference. Back to the mighty wheel to see what we shall be building for next. The Springbok! Oh, where were you in my last menagerie when I had a multi-species habitat already set up? Oh well, we'll just make them something nice. Using Oceania and Festival. because when I think Springbok, I think ocean. I think I'm gonna stick them back here. I kind of have a little African theme going on back in this part of the zoo, so they should fit in over here nicely. The fence is going to be super simple. I'm going to stack a few of these ocean driftwood fences together and call it done. I'm going to line my path with it so the guests get a nice little view of these guys. Hopefully they won't be too spooked by the guests. I know these guys can be a bit shy. And I'm going to use some of these big flat rocks to make a bit of a door to conceal my keeper entrance here. Like so. Rocks are your friends. They are perfect for camouflaging your habitat gates. And it looks pretty good too. Then I'm going to use this rock wall and break it up by entering the group, selecting only a few rocks at a time and just move them around to where I want to line the back of the habitat with. Then I'm going to sprinkle in a few different terrain plants to make it seem like I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, I don't. Pretty sure this is all wrong and I'm gonna have to change it all at the end. Now I'm gonna do something that I never do. I'm gonna stick my Springbok in here and get their opinions on the habitat before I continue. And right on cue, here they are. Oh my gosh, look at that one. My little short king has arrived. And see, they hate it. I knew it. Too much sand and not enough grass. Who would have known? For the hard shelter, I'm just gonna pick one of the pre-made ones and slap it down over here. Sprinkle in a little enrichment in food items, and now we're on to rock work. Their habitat is already teetering on the edge of being just too small for them, so I don't want to take up too much of the footprint with rocks. And that is why I'm going to be sinking them in pretty far so they can still traverse over them. After the rocks are all nice and sunk into the ground, I'm going to place some foliage, but not too much. I know that their natural habitat is pretty much vast open grasslands, but it would be nice to add a big tree so they have a place to escape the midday heat. And I'm going to finish it off with a few more rock clusters. And there you have it. Nice and simple, just the way we like it around here. I hope that the do not disturb sign actually works and the guests keep quiet around here. We shall see. Did you know Springboks can leap up to 10 feet in the air? This skill of jumping helps them escape from predators in the wild. They can also run extremely fast. Like 55 miles per hour fast, making them one of the fastest antelopes. Currently, Springboks are classified as least concerned by the International Union of Conservation of Nature. While they're not endangered, national parks in South Africa still help preserve their population by providing a safe environment for Springbok to thrive. Springbok babies are called lambs and can stand and walk within minutes of birth, and can run up to 50 miles per hour within a few weeks, and perform the species' famous high-flying leap called pronking, just like adults. And that pronking is used to escape and confuse predators when being chased. Time to spin our wheel again. What do you think it'll be? Oh, the American alligator. The sole reason I haven't been to Disney World yet. That and it's expensive. The wheel demands we build with aquatic and fiesta. All right. Bet, let's do this. So working with the terrain I have now, I have this kind of sunken in area over here on the map that just seems like it is begging for some water, don't you think? Using shift, I'm going to raise up my path because I want to make a bit of a bridge with a viewing area out onto the water for guests. At my local zoo, we have a bridge that you walk out onto that kind of connects to this gazebo viewing area where you can see the gators, if you're lucky. But this is by no means going to be a one-to-one replica of that zoo, I promise. Not even close. I'm also going to change this into more of a wood grain path. I thought that I could have a floating null path of nothingness that I could decorate myself, but I couldn't figure out how to actually do that. If you could do that, I don't know. So I'm just gonna go with this and call it good. Next, I'm going to raise up the ground and make sure that the water doesn't go into the parts of the zoo that I don't want to be underwater. I don't mind if the water continues in the direction that I haven't built in yet. Maybe if I roll any other aquatic or swampy-like critters, they can go out there. Then I'm going to raise up the ground so the gators have a nice basking spot right in the view of our guests, and so that way I have a space where I can add my habitat gate. For their sleeping spot, which, spoiler, they never used this, but I wanted to place down this amazing swampy shack that I found on the workshop by this creator here. It reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride where you're gliding through the swampy bungalow before the real ride starts. Happy memories. I am a huge Disney nerd and I have a Disney on the brain because I am currently planning a trip there. I'm so excited. I think I'm more excited to visit the San Diego Zoo while I'm there though, because I've never been and they have pandas. Ooh, maybe a zoo vlog? It won't be until January, but let me know if you're interested in that. Any hoodle doodle. As we can see, I'm just using the in-game steel mesh barrier. It'll keep the piece count down since we're getting quite crowded now, and it's perfect for what I need. Oh my. There is absolutely no power out here, is there? Well, that could be a problem. Luckily, I made these very handy base game staff facilities that I like to use that are equipped with everything I need. A little boring, very brutalist, but that's one of my favorite building styles. Now let's go ahead and throw in our Hydra Gator, yikes, before we do anything else because something tells me this habitat is way too big. It just seems to be an ongoing problem with me. Oh no. How? What? How is this an escape point? Someone explain. Somebody please explain to me. Whatever. Just stick a rock in it. Rocks fix everything. And I'm gonna shrink this habitat just a smidge. There, much better. I know this path is floating. It is an abomination to my eyes too. Don't worry. Let's try and fix it. I really like these Fiesta Ranch pieces, and I'm going to rely heavily on them to construct this walkway area. After I place down my posts, I'm going to use the fence pieces to connect to it and make my hand railings to prevent any kids from jumping into the swamp below. Even though chasing children would be really good enrichment for my gators, and I'm not against it. Something tells me though that the inspector might frown upon that. Then I'm going to use some ivy as a bit of a decor, group it all together, and just line my bridge with that. But no one wants to watch me do that. So here's a neat transition. There, 40 minutes for me was just 4 seconds for you. Aren't you lucky? You're welcome. And this area right here that I couldn't close the gap with because the pieces just weren't working is a perfect spot for some education. Happy accidents. Next, I'm going to attempt to make a roof for our little gazebo area here. I'm going to use the grid for the roof pieces, and I'm going to expand the roof on all sides. After the roof is expanded how I want it, then I'm going to raise up the supports to hold the roof up. I later decide that I don't like all the supports, and I'm just going to keep the 4, one in each corner. I was going to make a cover for the whole bridge, but ultimately decided against it, and just lowered the supports instead. Changing the color of the gazebo roof really brings the whole thing together. For the foliage, I'm going to line the sides with some reeds to make it a little harder for them to see. I really want to encourage the guests to use the bridge, but I know they won't. They'll just stand here and complain. And of course, we're going to add some lilies to the top of the water. I love these. And I'm going to sink in some moss-covered rocks on the banks. Again, I don't want to make the rocks very tall since gators can't traverse them, so they're all going to be pretty flat and low to the ground, just to break up the round texture a bit. Then I'm going to put down a few of these custom swampy trees that I found on the workshop by this creator here. And I'm going to add a few vines to the gazebo area. And finally, I'm going to remove the water so I can dot in some nice mossy rocks into the bottom in a cluster that I can just duplicate all over. I'm also going to place this log so the guests don't know if they're looking at a gator or some driftwood. Then in between the rocks, I'm going to dot around various underwater plants like the temple plants and the eelgrass. Gonna add my water back in, place the habitat items, and we're all done. I think this one turned out pretty good. I really like the way the bridge and the gazebo all turned out. I put the educator out here, so hopefully we can get some guests to actually come out here and use this area. This shack is so good, but like I said, I have never seen the gators actually use it. They don't use the bedding to sleep in, so I'm not really sure how to attract them in here. But it is a really nice statement piece for this habitat nonetheless. It turned out so swampy and it just looks really good, especially when it rains. I think our gators will be really happy here in their new home. American alligators never stop growing. So very old gators can be even bigger than 14 feet long, making them the largest reptile in North America. It is extremely rare for a wild alligator to chase people, but they can run up to 35 miles an hour for short distances on land. Never make the mistake of thinking that an alligator is slow and lethargic. Baby alligators are extremely vulnerable to predation once newly hatched because they're only about 6 to 8 inches long. Raccoons, bobcats, birds, snakes, large bass, and even other alligators often hunt for newly hatched alligators as part of their diets. So their mother will gently carry her newly hatched babies in her mouth to the water nearby in order to protect them. Young alligators then stay with their mothers for up to 2 years. And here's something even I didn't know. Alligators have 4 short legs. Okay, no. I knew that part. I promise I knew that part. What I didn't know is that they have a different number of little tootsies. Their front legs have 5 tootsies, while their back legs only have 4 tootsies. Let's spin the wheel again, shall we? This time we are building for the Western chimpanzee. Oh, I haven't had the pleasure of looking at the chimp in this game since seeing them in the Planet Zoo 2 trailer. And for themes, we are rolling with Planet Zoo theme, always a nice choice, and South America. I'm thinking this spot right here across from the lemurs and next to our alligators looks perfect for our new community of chimps. I'm gonna have to remove the water from the gator area and take out the barrier so that way I could dig the moat that I'm going to use to keep our chimps away from the guests. And there we go, our terrain work is done and the barrier for the gators is back. Don't worry, we have to make sure that they're not going to eat our chimps. And this is going to be more than enough room for our new ape friends. First thing I'm going to do is place this climbing structure that I found in the workshop by this creator here. Next, I'm going to put in my null barrier and add our habitat gate, connect up some paths, and then use some rocks to make the rest of the back wall. Then I'm going to select my new chimpy chimps, place them down in the habitat to see what they think of all of this. Oh, look at that. Not too bad at all. Just a little bit of grass and job's done. They don't need anything else. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's also check to make sure that they cannot get out. Ooh, they can. They can. Okay, so in order to fix this, just select your rock, duplicate it, and just move it up a little bit, and that usually stops the escaping. Then just a little terrain painting. I am so excited to play with all the new brushes that we're getting for Planet Zoo 2. What about you guys? To keep the guests on the path, I'm going to use this Planet Zoo fence as a barrier for them, and I'm just going to line the moat's edge with it. I do have to finesse it a bit because the terrain is, well, it's sculpted and not flat. But it's okay, a little extra patience, we will make it all work out in the end. Now it is time for another sweet, sweet transition. This is what our habitat is looking like before rocks and foliage, and after. That transition effect will never get old. I love it. And that is our new habitat for our Western chimpanzees. It has this nice moat to keep the viewing area nice and open for our guests. They have plenty of room to run and play, and I even added a bit of a forest area in the back in case they wanted a little bit more privacy from the guests. This climbing structure is perfect for what I needed for them. The climbing is still a bit janky, but hey, that is part of the charm, right? All in all, I'm pretty proud of the way that this one turned out. Oh my god, I forgot habitat items. Whoopsie, I knew I was missing something. I can fix that real quick, no problem. I found this pretty interesting. Western chimpanzees engage in unusual rock throwing behavior, throwing large rocks into hollow trees and stumps or against trees, presumably as some sort of primitive ritual or perhaps an early form of competitive sport. They also make wooden spears to hunt other primates. They use caves as homes, they share plant food with each other, and travel and forage during the night. They also submerge themselves in water, and they'll play in it too to stay cool in the oppressive heat. Western chimps can live up to 40 to 50 years in the wild, and more than 60 years in zoos. And are humans' closest living relatives, sharing up to 98.7% of our DNA, making chimpanzees genetically closer to a human than gorillas. And back at spinning our wheel again, we're going to see what we get. The green iguana. The green iguana. You know, my 6th grade teacher had one of these as our classroom pet. Her name was Gizmo. And the themes we're building for are conservation and Europe. Again, 2 great themes, solid DLCs to get, if you ask me. I'm going to stick them in this spot over here by our mandrills. I'm going to place down the exhibit box and put in our 2 iguanas so that way I can fix the temperature and add some enrichment items. And using our conservation pieces, I'm going to make this kind of circle shape and cover the front with some of these pieces as well. And to cover the seams on these sides where the pieces stick out because of the box, I'm going to use these European decorative limestone slabs and advanced movement, and I'm going to try my best to fit it in this spot as best as possible. For For the top, I'm going to be using various mulch pieces to cover the roof so that way I can make a living roof here for this exhibit. And after that is complete, I'm just going to pick various plants from the tropical and grassland biomes to cover the whole thing. I'm just picking random ones and placing them until I feel like it's nice and full. I promise there is no plan here. Add some education and a donation bin, and finally finish it off with our golden iguana statue at the top. It's simple, it's cute, I really like it. Green iguanas have been known to grow up to 6 feet long and 20 pounds in captivity. Around half of the length is their tail. Although they are called green iguanas, these lizards are sometimes found in other shades and colors besides just green, including blue, orange, and purple. An interesting feature of the green iguana is their third eye. This is an extra eye on top of their head. Now this eye is not quite like a normal eye, but it can help iguanas detect the movement of predators sneaking up on them from above, like a bird, allowing the iguana to escape. Nice and quick, time to spin the wheel again. Oh, the Proboscis Monkey. These guys have the best faces. Just look at that schnoozle. Oh, why am I like this? And for the building themes, the wheel says New World, nice, 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 and Indonesian. Okay, all right, perfect. No complaints here. I kind of have a bit of a monkey section going on over here, don't I? So I definitely want to keep up with that. I'm going to use the Archer, so that way I can tell how tall the guests are. This is a wonderful piece that you can get off the workshop. It is great reference. I want to make a water viewing area right here, so I'm going to build up the terrain a bit for the whole habitat, and then where I want the water, I'm going to dig back down. It does take me a minute to get the terrain just the way that I want it, but I get there in the end. With the glass barrier keeping the water in and giving the guests a little bit of an underwater viewing area, since if you didn't know, these little guys are actually excellent swimmers. And I forgot to hit record, but I just built a shell, I manipulated my path, and I slapped down some benches. Nothing that exciting. For the side, I'm going to be using the New World piece here and some mesh, and then I'm just going to line these up here and make a fancy little box for them. Eventually, this will be completely covered, but it is easier to work with without a roof. I'm going to add in this climbing frame that I found off the workshop by this creator here, and then I'm going to take off some of these really high pieces because, like I said, there will be a roof piece when I'm all said and done. And I'm going to add in some other various habitat items like toys and enrichment for them to have. And I'm going to sprinkle in some trees, but I want to keep mindful of how tall these trees are. I don't want it to clip through the roof. And a few moss-covered sunken-in rocks to help break up the ground a bit. Some bushes to add some more coverage. And some underwater eelgrass to make the underwater viewing area look a bit more colorful to look at. Now I'm going to work on the roof for the viewing area, using some of these metal-clad roof pieces and the grid to fill it in. And in the middle, I'm going to be using these glass roof pieces to help bring in some sunlight into this area. Topping it off with one of my favorite pieces, the glass modern roof curved piece, and finishing off the whole thing with some trim. Then I'm going to add a cute little name sign, make it pop by duplicating it and offsetting it a bit and coloring the back ones black to make it look like bubble letters. And then I'm going to color all the letters in various colors like I have been doing with all of my monkey builds so far. Well, except the chimps. I couldn't really figure out where to put a sign for theirs. I kind of like the colors. Before I close this all in, I want to add in our monkeys to see what they think of their habitat and to see if there's anything that I need to change. And here we are. Let's take a look here and, ooh, not too bad. Just a little terrain work. They need their hard shelter, which will be all cleared up once I put the roof on. I'm going to duplicate the walls and raise them up. It won't let me do it as one big piece, so I'm gonna have to do it the hard way and duplicate them one by one. Whatever, it's only my time I'm wasting here, right? See? Done. And for the roof, I'm going to duplicate and rotate a side piece to complete the mesh top with these. I love the colorful name sign for these guys. It turned out so cute. I would personally sit here and watch these little guys swim around all day. I really like the way this education and seating area all came together. It's so cozy, and for right now, a pretty quiet area since this side of the zoo isn't that full yet. The foliage is all just the right height, adding enough coverage without poking out the top or the sides. And this climbing structure was also really nice, with these little baskets being just the perfect size for them to take little naps in. I love seeing them just swim around here without a care in the world. To be as carefree and happy as a little monkey. All in all, I'm very happy with this build. The proboscis monkey, also known as the long-nosed monkey, is one of the largest old-world monkey species. Due to their habitat in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, proboscis monkeys are endangered with a declining population that has decreased by 50% in the past 35 to 40 years. They are some of the best swimmers and divers, and it makes sense that they're some of the best swimmers in the primate family considering that their home is near fresh water. They can even swim underwater. These large-nosed monkeys are known as the cows of the primate world. Just like cattle, proboscis have a complex stomach system with many chambers. Each one of these stomachs is filled with healthy bacteria to help them digest their food. And there's no doubt that these primates have some of the largest noses around. A male's nose can be as long as 10 centimeters. That's nearly 4 inches long. For reference, that's around the same size as a toilet paper roll. While their noses may look a little funny to us, they're actually one of the ultimate factors in deciding whether or not a male will mate. Larger noses are associated with dominance in this species and louder calls, so females are more likely to mate with a male with a longer nose. So, I guess size does matter, huh? And look at this little one right here. He's just sitting here, eating nothing. There's no food there though, buddy. They ate it all. It's just him and his imagination. I think we need to name this one Bangarang. And if you know, you know. In order to pull a few more guests onto this side of the zoo, I'm going to place down a plaza and make another food and drink area over here. I'm going to smooth out the edges of the path as well by clicking on the corners and then just promptly deleting what I just placed, and it makes this nice, smooth corner. I'm going to use more of these food trucks that I have used throughout the rest of the zoo as well. I really love these, they're perfect. Part of me wishes that we could have both orientations of the truck so that it's facing the other way as well, but that's such a minor complaint of mine. Then I'm going to add in some tables, and of course we're going to need bins all around this new area for trash. And what are you protesting for? My gators? My gators are dying. What? Why? Where even are my gators? I don't even see them. What? What? How? What? How did? What are you doing over here? Oh my god, there's the other one. What the heckaroni is going on over here? Okay, well, I'm just gonna call the vets, I guess. Does anyone see the other one? Oh my god, there she is. I thought I checked this habitat. How did they get out of here? Now that you're back in your habitat, please enlighten me on how you got out. Oh my, are you for serious right now? Whatever. More rocks will fix this problem. Magical ghost gators phasing through steel mesh. Now back to my food court. I'm going to add a path on the side that leads up to our new monkey pen and some nice education here so they have something to listen to while they eat. Back to our wheel, let's see what we roll next. And the wheel says the 9-banded armadillo. Oh my god, they're so cute. Look at those little faces. And for theme, we're going with East Asian. Okay. And Planet Zoo. I mean, we're gonna make it work. It's gonna be okay. Now these guys need a very teeny tiny space. And we all know how good I am at making teeny tiny spaces. I suck at it. I'm going to go ahead and buy our new little friends. I'm gonna put them over here by the flying foxes. This little space seems so tiny and perfect to me. I want to make the viewing area with some one-way glass so that way we don't spook them. And I'm gonna place down some breeze block at the bottom of the glass to give it a nice foundation. And for the sides, I'm going to be using the East Asia painted timber pieces. And I'm gonna flip another one around vertically so that way I can use it on the top as well. And then I'm gonna recolor them to try and match the breeze block the best I can. And then I'm going to duplicate those and just place a few down. I don't need a lot since they just need a teeny weeny habitat. And I'm gonna fix the path and break it away from the main path to lead up to the habitat to help maybe with some congestion. I'm also going to be using another workshop item by Caesar Creates here. The giraffe is a much more skilled builder than the panda, I'm just saying. I'm going to be using these mud walls to finish off the walls and the habitat, and I'm going to finesse my null barrier around the whole thing and delete the mud wall that is blocking the habitat gate. Even though I know my keepers will just phase through it anyways, even if I don't delete it. They're magical. And sometimes your habitat door will do this. Just click on it and move it a little and it should pop back up to the surface. it should. And it's like 10 times bigger than they need. Dang it, I thought I was doing so good. I'm not changing it. I'm not, no. For their hide, I'm going to use some more of the breeze block and shape out a little area in the back for them to hide from the guests and weather. And I'm going to start placing down these dead logs all around the habitat as well. And I also want to make sure that I get the habitat items in here too. This termite mound is a must. And I'm going to be placing down some sparse foliage around. I'm also going to be sinking in some rocks and some of these tiny pebble formations. I really wanted a lot of dead trees in this to make it just look like it's a termite smorgasbord. Now I'm going to place down my tiny golden statue and some education to help teach our guests a thing or two as they pass by. And it's time to add them in here. Oh my gosh, they're so tiny and cute, like little beans or potatoes. Moment of truth, how good did I do? Ah, dang, just a wee bit too much sand. But I can fix that easy. Like I said before, a lot of the time, the area between your null barrier and your actual barrier, you can change that terrain paint and you're gonna be good. And we're not too bad on space. Like, it's not that bad. 9 banded armadillos nearly always have a litter of 4 babies. Identical quadruplets. Armadillo babies look very much like their adults, but are smaller and softer than their armored parents. When startled or scared, these armadillos can jump 4 to 5 feet high. Usually this surprises any creature trying to have them for lunch. These guys are insectivores. They mostly eat bugs, beetles, grubs, worms, spiders, and especially termites. Once in a while, they do eat fungus, fruits, and seeds, but they love bugs the most. These little armored mammals are actually good swimmers when they need to be. They can also hold their breath for up to 6 minutes and are really skilled at walking underwater to cross streams. Okay, people, just a couple more before this video is done. Let's see what we're gonna roll next. Oh, the platypus. Perry has arrived. These animals are so incredibly unique and interesting to me. A duck, a beaver, and an otter. It's like nature had a bunch of leftover pieces and just kind of smushed them all together and said, a platypus. Themes that we're going to be rolling with are classic, that's good, and African. I mean, I would have preferred Australian, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? Now, platypuses, which I believe is the correct plural term for them, even though I think platypi sounds cooler. Platypuses are primarily nocturnal, so I want to build them like a house that we could have a blue light in to simulate night during day while the zoo is opened, and daytime at nighttime when the zoo is closed. That is the hope and the dream. No promises though. So I'm shelling out an outline for a building right here. I'm going to be using this wood beam to tell me where the surface of the water hits. Once I get the glass placed down, then I fill it in with water. And now with the water in, I can now lower this beam to just barely touching the surface so I know where to place my terrain. I'm going to raise the terrain up and use the flattened foundation at the top of the wooden beam. Then I'm going to add the water back in and make sure it all works, which it does. I'm then going to extend my terrain a bit so that way I can add the keeper door in the back to allow my keepers to actually have access to this habitat. For the rest of the wall, I'm going to be using these painted brick walls, and then I'm going to be using logs to add a little bit of decal to the sides so they don't look so plain. And after selecting all those pieces, I should be able to click them into place using the grid. Then I'm going to fit the path through the platypus house so that way the people can sit here and just watch them play in their water area. Then I'm going to place them in here because I have a feeling like for my otters in my first mom zoo, I don't have enough deep water for them. Ooh, yep. They hate everything. Better to find this out now than when I think I'm done. Now, they don't need a lot of space, so I think if I just remove the water and push the terrain down just a little bit, we'll be fine. These are little guys like our armadillos, and like our armadillos, I have overbuilt for them. See? Perfect. Easy fix. Now they just need quite the terrain paint cleanup, and this whole thing will also be eventually covered with hard shelter, so there's no problems there. To keep things simple for myself, I'm going to duplicate some of the underwater decor that I used for my gators and bring it over to use for this as well. It looks very nice in here. I'm going to add a few habitat items in here as well, and I am then going to sink in and use some of these flat rocks to hide some of the imperfections on the side that I have with the terrain. I then spent a bit of time building this fun little splash pad area with these water jets, but for some reason in the end, they could never use it. I was sad, but I decided not to delete my shame. We can just pretend that they can use it. Then I just dot around some foliage to add some lushness and a few more of these dead logs. Now I'm going to start working on the ceiling, and to do that I'm going to first place a grid piece here so that way I know when I'm putting my ceiling in place it's going to be on the grid. I'm going to place another one over here on the ground and split it from the grid. I want to cover the top with some leafy greens like so. And in the middle, I'm going to use one of these lights. I'm going to then move the leaves out of the way so the light can actually shine through. And then I'm going to turn it on to always and change the light to more of a blue-black light to help simulate night within their habitat. Now that that's all done, I'm going to flip it around and place it directly on top of the one that I snapped to the grid first. And then I'm just going to fill in the entire area with this new piece. Then I'm going to top the roof with some copper pieces, and then I will painstakingly move all of these leaves so they aren't clipping through because it hurts my soul to see this. I can handle a little clipping here and there, but this was too much. And I didn't want to punish y'all with that, so here we are all done. And to finish off the roof, I'm going to use this piece here. I really like the shape that it made at the top of the roof. And I'm going to fill in these triangles with some nice glass pieces, finishing off the roof once and for all. To complete the build, I'm going to add these little platypus signs and some bubble letters spelling out platypus, decorating the outside a bit with some nice foliage, and adding some benches and education inside. We are all done. And here is our cute little platypus house. I love the sign with the little water bubbles around them. So cute. And with the black lights inside simulating night, so that way our guests can get a good view of our little platypuses during the most active part of their day. I wish I had some smaller waterfall boxes because I would have loved to have added some moving water into their habitat. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. Very realistic putting them inside a building that can simulate nighttime during the daytime. I'm very excited to see these little guys for myself when I visit the San Diego Zoo in January, because the San Diego Zoo is home to 2 platypuses, the only platypuses outside of Australia. With 2 layers of fur for insulation and waterproofing, platypuses use their fur to trap layers of air next to their skin so that they can remain buoyant and dry even when they're underwater, which they are underwater a lot. The platypuses spend about 12 hours every day underwater looking for food. Male platypuses have a hollow spur on each hind leg connected to a venom-secreting gland, and while their venom is lethal, there are no recorded deaths from platypus stings. Baby platypuses are often called puggles. Is there anything cuter than that? A puggle? Oh my god, that is adorable. And our 10th species added into the zoo is going to be the European peacock. Oh, pretty. I just so happen to have a butterfly house. Well, we can't end with that. I'll be back, Wheel. I'll be back. I'm just gonna stick them into our butterfly garden over here. Super easy. The spectacular peacock butterfly is regarded as one of the most beautiful in Britain and has recently expanded its range to Scotland. Gemma, is that true? The underside of its wings are dark, bark-like camouflage. When the butterfly snaps its wings open, 4 bold eye spots create a sudden startle display against predators. And along with that, they have a sound-assisted defense when handled or attacked. Adults can actually produce an audible hiss or click via their wing and body structures, adding a startle cue along with the eye spots. That's crazy. I didn't know butterflies can make an audible sound. Learn something new every day. And I promised one more wheel spin, and one more wheel spin we shall have. The dingo! Now most people think a dingo ate my baby. Did you know that the story behind that is actually pretty tragic and actually quite sad? My heart definitely goes out to Liddy Chamberlain and her husband for what they had to endure during that tragic time in their lives. And we are building with South America and Australia! Now you want to give me Australia. Okay, well, I do still need Australia, so I'll take it. I'm not complaining, Wheel. I'm not. Don't be mean to me. I'm gonna put them back here by our hyenas, and I want to use the terrain. I almost want to push the terrain right here in front and kind of make this a cave. But first, I'm going to make the fence. And to do that, I'm going to use different sizes of these wood beams from the South America DLC. Then I'm going to add mesh right into the middle of them. And this will be our our second fence. I'm then going to use these flat rocks to fill in the ends. I'm also going to push the path off for this viewing area so we don't get too much congestion in this area. Then for the first fence to keep my guests away, I'm going to just use the Australian fence and put it between the path and the other fence, just like that. Now, like I said, I want to make this area look kind of more like a cave, so I'm just going to use my terrain tools to push in this hill here and try and manipulate this to look more like a cave opening. It looks kind of like a mess, but I think a few rocks will make it look okay. I'm going to use the same rock formation that I have for a few of my other habitats in this area to complete the sides and back wall. And it does look a little too rocky for my taste, so I'm going to use the pull terrain tool to pull in some dirt in between the rocks to help break it up just a bit. Just like that. See, it already looks so much better. Then I'm gonna go ahead and throw some dingoes in here. Oh my god, it's perfect. Well, job's done, guys. Time for the flyover. I'm kidding. I'm going to add in our habitat items, and then I'm going to use a lot of rocks to better decorate the cave mouth and this ridge. I'm also going to paint in some sand and some dirt and use some dried up looking foliage to try and simulate their natural habitat. I'm also going to place down some education and some donation bins. And there is our little dingo habitat, our little slice of the outback right here in the menagerie. Dingoes are highly adaptable apex predators living native to Australia, found in nearly every environment across the continent, including harsh desert, tropical wetlands, forests, and alpine snowfields. But mine, they live in the harsh desert. Sorry guys, but when I think dingo, I just think Australian desert. And I think this looks pretty good. What about you? Dingoes tend to howl rather than bark. They often howl at night to gather the pack and to deter intruders. When they do bark, it's almost exclusively used to give warnings. And did you know dingoes have rotating wrists that allow them to actually grasp objects, dig complex burrows, and even open door handles? And their shoulder joints are also quite flexible, which helps them with climbing. Australians, desperate to keep their flocks safe, have resorted to building a fence in the southeastern Australia to keep the dingoes out. The impressive fence is one of the longest structures in the world and generally considered to be the longest fence, spanning about 3,488 miles. In the wild, dingoes live somewhere between 5 to 10 years, but in zoos, they can live upwards to 18 to 20 years. This one looks very similar to my daughter's German Shepherd, who is named Allie. She got the nickname Alligator because she was quite mouthy as a puppy. And so I call her Gator Tot. I think I'm going to name this one Gator Tot for her. And lady, what the hell are you doing? There is a fence here for a reason, you know. Some people just think the rules do not apply to them. Well, you know what, lady? You want a closer look? I will give you a closer look, okay? There. Now, what do you think about that? No fun. She disappeared. And just like that, we roll into year 75. Our zoo is doing great. I even cut back on some of the guests because I was worried about crashes, but so far, knock on wood, we have been doing really good. Research is complete and... Oh dang, the butterfly. Well, whoops. Well, research is almost done. We are sitting pretty with 8.2 million in the bank. Our guests are pretty happy. I can't complain about them. Our chimp is our most appealing habitat animal, with our flying fox being our most appealing exhibit animal. We had over $100,000 dues in profit last year, even with the reduced guests. I have a good feeling about the last 25 years of this zoo. Let's roll that wheel again. Yes, that's right, the big boy himself, the king, the West African lion. Who else was so stoked to see the absolute massive glow up our boy is getting in the next game? No comparison, just none. And for this habitat, I'm going to build it with zookeeper, okay, generic, we love to see it. And African. All right, let's go. We're cooking now. I mean, be honest, how many of you are going to miss this charming old model? Now, I have the remastered mod installed for the lions, so mine won't be that bad. I've had this mod installed for so long that I almost forget what they used to look like. Almost. For the fence, I am going to be reusing our African wild dog fence. I'm going to be moving down these fences to the bottom and making the fence a bit bigger for our big kitties. And I'm also going to replace the glass with some mesh instead. And then I'm just going to extend the sides down. That will complete the fence and hide the edges of the mesh as well. I'm also going to remove this side so that way when I place them side by side, they're not overlapping with pieces that we don't need. And now I'm just going to line this area with our new fence to form our viewing areas for the lions. Then I'm going to place down our path kind of far away from our main fence so guests don't think that they could just stick their hands in. Guests are not allowed to boop the snoot of the lions. I mean, I would love to do that one day. I think that would be such a cool experience. Along this path, I am also going to use this African fence to reinforce our double barrier, and this is what it's looking like so far. The next thing I'm going to work on is going to be a door for our keepers to enter the habitat, and I'm going to do my tried and true and cover it with, you guessed it, rocks. Now, I could spend several hours making an elaborate backstage area, and one day I might, but today is not that day. Do you guys make backstage areas? I'm also going to be using rocks to fill in the rest of the barrier and also connect the guest fence to the rock wall as well. And here we are. Barrier all done and ready for decorating. And the first thing I'm going to do for decorating is add some water. A small little watering hole with just a bit of moving water going through it. It's going to be a small and cute little waterfall off to the side. I'm going to use these two boxes and stack them together. And then with the terrain tool, I'm going to then pull up the terrain all around it. And then to cover that, I'm just going to fill in the area with rocks. Rocks fix everything, I'm telling you. Sink them all around until it just looks right. I really like to add them to the middle of the falls too, to have the rocks just jutting out to break up the falling part of the water. Add in a few of these waterfall effects. I love these so much. And here is our finished waterfall for our lions. Next up, I'm going to put some lions in here, and thanks to my credit farm zoo, the Murder Mittens, I have quite a few lions to choose from. Something tells me I'm going to have quite a few more lions before the end of this 25 years is done. Actually, now that I think about it, I hope these two aren't related. Let's check. No, we're good. We're good. Just need a bit of terrain painting, and it looks like they would benefit to have a nice hard shelter in here too. For their hard shelter, I'm going to be using the path trick to keep the terrain the way it is, but this will allow me to place down beds without it flattening out the terrain under it. Again, it is because of your wonderful comments that brought to my attention this trick, so keep them coming. I love reading them. For the side of the shelter, I'm going to be using this flat rock as a foundation, and on top of that, I'm going to be putting in some one-way glass. Now, the guests aren't going to get the greatest view of them sleeping, but at least if they are in there, the guests can see that they're in there and not that there's just nothing in the habitat at all. Has that ever happened to you? You go to a zoo and for the life of you just can't find the animal that's inside, so sometimes you swear there isn't an animal actually in there at all. I used the terrain to get the basic shape of the cave, and now with the power of editing, I'm going to cover this up in, you guessed it, rocks. I'm a one-trick panda. And now it is time to paint the terrain with plants. Only I have to hand place them. All of them. And I use a lot of buffalo grass. Man, I really wish that we could paint the grass yellow. I feel like whenever I watch nature shows about lions, they're always surrounded by yellow grass, not bright green, pretty green stuff. And of course, even more rocks in the middle of the habitat, just because I can. Then I'm going to place down some more paths so that way I can lay down their food and food enrichment items right here along the viewing window without messing up my terrain. Now that the habitat is pretty much done, it is time to focus on the space between the guest barrier and the lion barrier. I'm first going to fill it in with some nettles right up against the fence. Then I'm going to go in with these very pretty purple flowers to give this brown habitat a bit of a color. And then finally, some goldenrod nestled right up against the lion's barrier. Yellow and purple, opposites of the color wheel, and oh so pretty together. What do we think? I kind of like it. I found this adorable habitat board on the workshop by this creator, and I just knew I needed to use it. Look how adorable! I also found this talking point shell on the workshop. The ground is sculpted, and since it is not perfectly flat, this isn't sitting nearly as nicely as it should for this spot, but I just need to do a little tweaking, and it should work just fine here. And here is our lion habitat done! I really like the way this one turned out. I did think briefly about doing a Pride Rock themed habitat, but I thought that it was a little on the nose. I was partly inspired by the feature focus on the lion for Planet Zoo 2, with the open viewing area and the cave hide in the back. I still think that some yellow grass paint could have really elevated this to a whole new level, but alas, I will have to fulfill those dreams another time. I love building for lions. If you can get your hands on a few of them, they breed like crazy and sell for good chunks of credit, even if you're just selling them to the computer and not to IRL people. I'll be selling all of my males at the end of the 25 years. You'll have to let me know if you got any of my males. Pandora's Box is my franchise name. Let me know, because I'm very curious. Lions are the only cats that live in groups, and these groups are called prides and can be up to 30 lions depending on how much food and water is available. Female lions are the main hunters. While they're out looking for food, the males guard the pride's territory and their young. Sometimes lions hunt dangerous prey like elephants and even crocodiles. While Nile crocodiles are formidable carnivores able to take down a full-grown lion, lions may hunt this species if the opportunity arises. In fact, crocodile predation is oddly very common amongst the lions in and around Zimbabwe's national park. While tigers and lions are the two biggest wild cats, they are less closely related than one might think. Lions are more closely related to leopards and even jaguars than they are to tigers. It's a shocking statistic, but there are fewer than 24,000 lions remaining today. The modern lion population is a mere fraction of the estimated 90,000 in the year 1970, making them critically endangered. Let's spin the wheel again. I'm not sure how we can top lions, but let's see what we get. The Lar Gibbon. This little primate is the one that you hear before you see. And for themes, I'm going to be working with Planet Zoo and South America. Both solid choices. Let's go. Since we have quite the monkey section going on in our zoo already, it just makes sense to stick them over here in this corner with all the other primates. I'm going to place them on the other side of our Proboscis monkeys since guests are already being pulled this way because of the food and water stalls. It'll be a perfect addition here. Using the terrain tool, I'm going to carve out an area for our water to make a natural barrier for them. I also kind of want to make a bit of a monkey island completely surrounded with water and only accessible with a climbing structure. I have to remember not to place any habitat items over here that the keeper will need to refill though, because they won't be able to get to it. Although it would be really funny to see the keeper try and traverse the climbing structure too. And here it is with all the water filled in. Lovely. I did forget to hit record when I started the monkey house, so I'm going to just use Control Z to undo all of it, and now I'm just going to use Control Y to redo it all so that way you can see it. I know. It's exhilarating, right? A house. I'm going to then use the grid to line in the path in here so the guests can come in and take a peek at our new gibbon sleeping if they want to. So I'm going to add the habitat beds and the drinking spot in here to encourage them to come in. I'm not sure if they can reach the water in the moat that I just made, so to avoid any of our monkeys going for a swim, I'm just going to pop down our beloved water pipe instead. I also forgot to add in a spot for the keepers to enter, so I need to remove this wall and place a door instead. Whoops. Ever build that perfect habitat and then realize you forgot the keeper door? No? Just me? Okay. Next, I'm going to work on the barrier for the guests so no kids decide to take a bath in the monkey mode. I'm going to start with a simple piece of plaster, and then I'm going to pop on the Planet Zoo fence. After putting it into place, I am then going to duplicate the fence so that way I can stretch it across the whole length of the plaster piece. And then I'm going to merge and duplicate this piece and follow the length of the habitat. When you're done, it should look a little something like this. For the back of the barrier, I'm going to use these walls that I have already used for our red ruffed lemurs. I like these because they're nice and flat, but still have some greenery in them to give them a nice look. But since they're flat, they don't take up much of a footprint as the big boulders do. To connect the two islands, I'm going to use this climbing structure with brachiation. I'm also going to use this smaller climbing structure to help bridge the two land masses in front, and is closer for the guests to see here as well. Then it is time to add in the habitat items and the enrichment items before it is time for rocks and foliage. I just need to add some of these lilies to the water. They really do bring any body of water to life, and I find it hard to ever build water without them. And then I'm going to sprinkle in absolutely every kind of tree in the tropical biome tab to try and make a bit of a lush jungle area for these little guys. Then I'm going to make a nice little rock pile here by sinking in 2 different types of rocks from the biome and dot in a few small plants to finish it off. For the monkey house, I am just going to be adding on a simple thatch roof, snapping it to the grid so it'll take no time at all. And then of course a sign in the front, and you know I'm going to sprinkle in some color. I usually just go for white signs, but I have been really enjoying the colors lately, and I might have to use colors more often. I also really love these signs, and I hope that we get at least one for every single animal in Planet Zoo 2, but more variants like we have with the gibbons would be preferable. And here's what our habitat is looking like. I think it is time to add in our Lar Gibbons. Oh my god, look at this little monkey man. He looks like a little yeti. Oh my god, their little walk is just adorable. Just look at him waddle. Okay, wait, do they even like it in here? Oh? No, not too bad at all. Yay me, off to a fantastic start. Our Lar Gibbon habitat was the perfect addition to our little monkey corner over here in the zoo, and fits in nicely amongst our other primates. Now let's put a pin in this and come back to it in a few months, but I would love to see howler monkeys and spider monkeys make it into the new game, and that will round out our New World monkey list quite nicely. However, Lar Gibbons are actually considered apes, not monkeys. The Lar Gibbon is an endangered lesser ape native to the rainforests of South Asia. Unlike New World monkeys, which are confined to the Americas, have tails and walk on all fours, Lar Gibbons are tailless apes that move through the canopy by swinging arm over arm. Lar Gibbons are the world's fastest tree-dwelling mammals, capable of swinging up to 34 miles per hour and leaping 50 feet across the canopy in a single acrobatic maneuver. Lar Gibbons communicate through term songs, combination of duets performed by bonded pairs. The duets take place between sunrise and noon, with a peak at mid-morning. Such calls last an average of 11 minutes and are audible for up to 1 kilometer away. That's why I said you hear them before you see them. Alright, Wheel, I'm feeling good about this next one, so let's see what we get. The little penguin, also known as the little blue penguin, the fairy penguin, the oh my god, you're so adorable penguin. I'm so excited. For themes the wheel demands, Oceania, oh, perfect, right on the nose, and Arctic. Oh, see? The wheel is confused on what species of penguin we're building for. I am going to pull some inspiration I found online by Mr. Weasel Zoo, who made a recreation of the fairy penguin island by Sea Life in England. I'm not going to be making a recreation for mine, it is just going to be loosely inspired by it. To start off, I'm going to block out a shell for our whole habitat. After I get it down, I don't really like the angle that we're sitting at, so I'm just going to pick up and move the whole thing for a better position for the zoo. That's another thing that is so great about the grid. It makes these small tweaks so much easier. And now I'm going to use this space that I didn't finish off to block out the building that will hold the pool for our little penguins. And then I'm going to place in our winding path that I want the guests to use to traverse the habitat. They're going to get a nice up close look at these little guys. Then I'm going to use this Oceania fence to line the path the best I can with. On both sides, I'm going to make sure that it touches the wall of the pool house and the barrier to keep the little penguins from wandering into the guest's path. Next, I'm going to use this glass barrier to give myself an idea of where I want the pool to go. Digging it all out with the terrain tools, then I'm going to use more grid pieces to make the foundation that will hold the glass in place. And since I used the grid, that'll make it a lot easier to line the bottom of the pool as well. And here's our little penguin pool. For our entrance in and out of the pool area, I'm going to be using these PVC strips to help keep mosquitoes and other bugs out of the water. Now with the right biome selected, I'm going to be using some rocks to make a bit of a ramp for our little penguins to be able to get in and out of their pool. I just want to make sure the ramp is not too steep, but it's easy enough for them to get up and down as they please to get in and out of the pool whenever they want. I'm also going to sink in some rocks to help fill out this space, and then I'm going to use another colored rock to better break up the color of the first rock I placed. I think it turned out pretty good. I can't really complain. I'm also going to place in some of these jetty platforms for the penguins to take a little rest while they're here swimming. And I'm also going to add in some other enrichment items into their pool so that way they have something to play with. Then I decided that I didn't like the path showing, so I'm going to be using more of these Arctic building pieces to cover the path and make it all look a bit more clean. When I first placed it down attached to the grid, I thought it was a little too high and that the guest's legs would clip pretty badly, so I split it from the group, sunk it down a bit so it was just barely showing, and then I used the new grid that formed when I placed it to fill in the space. Now for the plants inside this area, I don't want anything too tall since I will be placing a roof here, and I really want a bit of a beach feel for this habitat. So I'm going to be sticking pretty strongly to the cabbage palms and tree ferns, and of course, rocks. Oh, so many rocks. I'm also going to be placing in one of these animal burrows, and I'm going to be covering it up with rocks to better blend it in here. Then I'm going to add in a small spot off of the path where the animal talk can happen. Out here, I'm going to follow the same plant and rock combo that I used inside. Again, a lot of tree ferns and cabbage palms to fill in this area that will not be accessible to the penguins or the guests, and tons of these little rocks scattered all over into the empty spaces. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of the habitat as well, just like that. much better. I also added in the habitat items as well. Before I roof in the whole thing, I'm going to add in these little penguin cutouts all over. Little penguin colonies can have up to 500 individuals. Now, I don't think 500 penguins will fit in here, but they can multiply until their little hearts are content. Or the evil bird apocalypse takes over and everyone's sick and running to the vet. Whichever comes first. Now for the roof, I'm going to be using the Arctic roof pieces to start filling in the sides. Now in this spot here that is curved, I'm going to place in a flat roof piece and use this to add a few more little penguin cutouts. I just love these so much. They are too cute. For the rest of the roof, I'm going to be using glass pieces because I really want to let this house get all the benefits from the sun. These little guys are not nocturnal, so there is no need to fully enclose it in with a solid roof. But it'll still be nice and covered for when it rains or snows, so these little guys can still enjoy their little indoor pool all year round. And to finish off this build, I'm going to place a sign on the outside, and you guessed it, I'm going to recolor it. Seriously, try recoloring your signs. It really just makes them pop. I think I'm obsessed. Oh no, the market is a full-on sausage party. Well, this isn't gonna work. We need babies, and these little guys turn elderly at like 10 years, so we don't have long before they are no longer able to breed. I guess I'm just gonna sit here and wait for the market to refresh. Lucky you, it'll be just a few seconds. And just like that, we have quite a few new friends to add into our new oasis to go and have the pool party of their dreams. Go forth, little friends. Go frolic and make lots of babies for me. I need to see those little fuzzballs of cuteness. Ah, look at that. Perfection. I am just too good. This was such a fun build. I have only played with little penguins in the Oceania campaign level, so I was extremely happy to see them pop up on the wheel. I hope I have done them justice with this build, and dare I say, I think it's one of my favorite builds in the whole zoo. Panda still being the first, of course, followed closely by that spectacle flying fox exhibit box. Hopefully the guests enjoy this nice and up-close view that they'll get for these little guys. I know this would be a fun spot to visit in any zoo, minus the smell, of course. Penguins do tend to smell a bit, though. But that's all part of the charm, right?
It's Jesus Penguin. All hail Jesus Penguin.
I mean, he isn't wrong. That penguin is on a whole nother level. Little penguins are the smallest penguin species in the world, weighing roughly 2.2 pounds and standing just 25 to 35 centimeters tall. In Australia, they are referred to as fairy penguins due to their small size. Though predators like feral dogs, cats, foxes, and even rats have posed a risk to penguin colonies, there have been some extraordinary measures taken to help recover those populations. When the penguin colony was at the brink of collapse due to foxes, conservationists deploy highly trained sheepdogs to protect the penguins and deter the foxes, and the strategy was a huge success. The first sheepdog was named Oddball, and a movie was even made about him in 2015. The program is ongoing, and now many generations of sheepdogs have successfully protected the recovering colony there. Well, I know what movie I'm renting for our next movie night. Why, hello, wheel, we meet again. What shall you give me this time? Round and round you go. Where you stop? Herman Tortoise. Oh, these little helmets with legs are in an exhibit box. I'm not sure if I'm going to use any building materials or if I'm just going to use nature for this one, but I'll roll the theme wheel anyways. Aquatic and Fiesta. I'm going to place them in this little spot over here by our dingoes, and I think I am going to build it with rocks. We're going to surround the whole thing with our favorite. I'm going to fix the temperature and the humidity, and since I'm going to be using a lot of nature pieces, I'm also going to be putting up the 3D walls on 3 of the sides. Using these big flat rocks, you can really cover the exhibit box pretty quickly with them. Once the whole box is covered, I'm then going to extend out the rocks on the 2 sides just a bit, sinking them into the ground. Now that our box is all covered and looking good, I'm going to be using the mulch on top to be making a bit of a garden bed that I will then surround with more rocks, of course. And in the middle here, that's where I'm going to plant various desert plants to make another exhibit with a living roof on top. And there we go! Another quick and simple example on how you can beautify your exhibit boxes. A little effort and it has a big payoff. You can build these into your existing rock work and it always looks so good. Did you know the Herman tortoise have an internal magnetic compass to help them navigate the arid hillsides to find their way back home? Now where do I sign up for one of those? Because I have a terrible sense of direction. Just like a human fingerprint, the black and yellow patterns on a Hermann's tortoise's shell are completely unique to each individual. They are true introverts of the reptile world too. They rarely travel far, living their entire lives within a tiny territory. Honestly, same. When winter rolls around, they go through a deep sleep cycle called brumation. When they wake up or get annoyed, they can also let out a very cute hissing sound that sounds surprisingly like a tiny snore. Alright, Wheel, that was too easy. Let's go ahead and spin again. Oh, and we get the Pears David deer. I hope I'm saying that right. Oh, I do like me a good deer. And for building themes, I'm going to be using Twilight. Oh, good. I feel like the wheel does not land on Twilight enough. And I just looked back at my notes. This is the first time this Mom Zoo is seeing the Twilight theme. That's crazy. And Europe, a tried and true. I'm going to put them over here next to our little penguins. First, I want to make this area that is essentially in the middle of the habitat that the guests can come and sit and watch the deer just do their thing. Kind of like they were in a park and they were just sitting in a park to watch. You'll see what I mean. Making sure I just use dirt as the path. Now to line that path, I'm going to be using this mason work wall support beam as my base, and then on top of that, I'm just going to sink in the Twilight Gothic iron fence piece. Now that the fence is all merged together, it makes it so much easier to move it around and line the path with it. And before you know it, the fence is done. In the back of the habitat, I'm going to be using the Twilight building pieces to start an outline for their sleeping area and keeper entrance. And yes, I am taking inspiration from my fallow deer habitat that I made in the first menagerie. It was just so good. This area between my fence and my building, I'm going to fill in with large rocks and hope that they can't just jump over them. I'm also going to be using the terrain tools to carve out a bit of a stream in their habitat. Not deep enough for them to swim in, although Pears David deer are semi-aquatic and they love water. But I'll save that for the B-roll. After throwing our deer in here, we can see that this habitat is done. Look at that. We're all good. We just need a roof and we'll call it job done. And of course, I'm kidding. We can't possibly leave it so barren. Let's add in our habitat items and finish off our habitat house and maybe just a few rocks. We all love rocks around here. And finally, foliage. Now that really lifted up the whole build, didn't it? I don't know about you, but if I were a deer, I would love to frolic in all these flowers. Just look how lush and beautiful it turned out to be. It all came together so perfectly. Now can these deers realistically just jump over this fence? Probably, but why would they ever want to leave this lush paradise I just made for them? Another good job from me. I think my favorite part is the 2 towers I made on the habitat hide that have absolutely no function at all. Now, like I said before, Pears David deer are semi-aquatic and love water and spend long periods of time standing in water that is up to their shoulders. Oh, guess I should have made that stream a bit deeper then, eh? They have wide hooves with webbed toes that let them swim well and walk easily through deep mud and marshlands. They are a very rare Asian deer that went extinct in the wild but have been reintroduced in some areas successfully. These deers make funny sounds that sound like a mix between a sneeze and a grunt, making communication quite entertaining to listen to. In ancient times, these deers were considered a rare treasure, so much so that they were kept in royal parks and admired by emperors. Here we are again. Time to spin that wheel. Oh no, the desert hairy scorpion, a creepy crawly nightmare from my neck of the woods. Fun. And for themes, I'm going to go with New World and North Africa. Alrighty then. Now the problem that I've been running into with the sculpted map is the exhibits flatten everything, but I'm just going to try and work with it. I really want the exhibit to be here in this spot. I try and fix the ground just a bit by adding a building piece, but I don't really think it made much of a difference, honestly. After putting our newest venomous clawed friend in their box, I'm going to use the New World building pieces to shell out the exhibit. I really want to make an expanded one. I feel bad that I didn't give our tortoises some extra space, so here I am, giving all the extra space to bugs that probably don't need it. Do I make sense when I build? Of course not. Gotta keep y'all guessing on what old Panda will do next. After color matching the plaster piece the best that I can, I'm going to sink in a few rocks and foliage to try and blend the exhibit together so that way it isn't obvious that it doesn't belong. Pretty soon you'll have something that looks a bit like this. Now I'm going to fit some glass in here. Then I'm going to add a column to hide where the two builds meet to help with the illusion even more. And since I'm on a living roof kick, I'm going to do the same thing here using mulch to cover the top, and then I'm going to line it with rocks so the mulch isn't just hanging out all by itself up here. Finally, I'm going to fill in the whole thing with various desert plants. And there we go! Another expanded exhibit idea made in the mom zoo. If it's not expanded, is it even an exhibit? That right there, that's gonna be my new catchphrase. Just watch. Commonly thought to be part of the insect family, scorpions are actually classified as arachnids. Like spiders, ticks, and mites, they possess 8 legs. This species is nocturnal and escapes from the heat of the day by hiding under rocks or small rodent burrows. You know what? Honestly, same. I live in the Southwest, and you pretty much just stay inside during June through September. Don't worry if you run into one of these guys though. Desert hairy scorpion's venom is not as dangerous to humans. Doesn't mean it's not gonna hurt like hell though. They also glow under the UV lights and give birth to live young, about 30 babies that are white in color and ride safely on their mother's back until their first molt. Time to spin again. Let's see what we get this time. The Boa Constrictor. Time to build for a snake in a box. And to build it, I am going to be using the themes Rustic and East Asia. I'm going to be putting our new Danger Noodle right up against the back of our new Lar Gibbon habitat, and I am most definitely going to be giving them an expanded exhibit for this one. These big snakes deserve so much more room than this box allows them. I'm going to place a plaster piece on either side of the actual exhibit, and then I'm going to recolor the plaster so it matches the dirt the best that I can, and then I'm going to use the leaf litter from the foliage tab to put on top. Then I'm going to frame the whole thing using the East Asian building pieces, and for the inside foliage, I am actually going to go with a tip from one of you. Javis the Gamer suggested using the bamboo building pieces for the bamboo in our expanded exhibits, and I cannot be more excited about this. The foliage bamboo is just too much for these small exhibit boxes, but this is game changer here, and it works so well. So thank you so much for the tip. I think it turned out really nicely. You guys are so much smarter than I am. I am then going to dot around small plants to fill in this space and make it look more lush and jungle-like. And what I do to one side, I'm going to try and do something similar to the other side as well to keep it all looking like one big build. And vines, the vines really do bring it all together. I love them. I'm also going to add in some lights on either side. One side will be red and the heat light for the day side, and the other side will be the black light or the night side of the exhibit. Heat regulation is very important for your reptile's health. To hide where the buildings all meet, I'm going to be using the East Asian painted beams and recolor them green, since the red was kinda harsh for this build. And then I slot in the roof that I'm going to be using for this build with a bit of an overhang for our guests, and finishing off with a nice sign and this cutout of a snake, even though I don't know if this is a boa or not. And here we go, another expanded exhibit. I really like the way this one actually turned out. I say that a lot, but I do, I mean it. I'm always amazed at how I can make exhibits expand like this. I really hope one day we have a way to make a bigger exhibit. A bug should not have the same size tank as a large snake like this, but that's just my opinion. What do I know? I'm just a YouTuber, not a game developer. Boa constrictors are massive. They can grow up to 13 feet long and weigh more than 100 pounds, and they live 20 to 30 years. They are famous for swallowing large prey whole by stretching their jaw extremely wide to swallow large prey like monkeys, wild pigs, and bats. Contrary to popular belief, their constriction kills prey by cutting off blood flow rather than suffocation. Unlike most snakes that lay eggs, female boa constrictors give birth to an average of 20 to 60 live babies at a time. While they are primarily terrestrial or arboreal, boas are surprisingly strong swimmers if they need to cross water. 2 exhibit animals in a row, you better have something good for me this time, Wheel. Let's see. Sable Antelope. Alright, I can't complain here. I'm having a thought, Barbosa. But first, let's see what themes we're gonna have. Classic? Okay, nice. And New World, again. First, I have so many lion boys that have grown up. I think I'm going to be placing them on the market for 25cc. Good luck, everybody. I just have to believe that they are not going to be picked up by scalpers. So what I want to do with my Sable Antelope is to actually put them in here with our Springbok. So in order to do that, I'm going to be deleting these rocks and opening up their habitats. And I'm going to be moving over our back rock wall and matching it up with our dingo habitats. For the viewing fence on this side, I'm just going to be using some glass, some trim. Nothing too complicated here. I'm just gonna line this path with our new fence section, and then I'm going to be using a pre-built classic shelter to add more coverage and sleeping areas for all of these guys. Then I'm going to expand the rock work on the new side of the habitat that I just made, try and match the other one as best as I can, add a little extra foliage, not too much, They don't need a forest or anything. I still have to keep in mind what the Springbok like too, since they are now sharing. After throwing them into the habitat, it is very clear that they need more dirt. But that's it, they like their new home, and that's all I can ask for. Let's not forget the habitat items. They just need a few more things. They actually share a lot of them with the Springbok, which is probably why they get that interspecies enrichment bonus with them. Do you know Sable Antelope are actually quite brave when they are threatened by a predator, including lions? They will confront it using their scimitar-shaped horns. Who wouldn't back down after that? Those bad boys can grow up to 1.6 meters in length, which is the same length as an elephant's tusk. Their horns grow their entire lifetime, and each year they develop a new ring, so their horns can determine their age. Females also grow horns, although they don't get near as big as males. Lions, leopards, and hyenas are the sable antelope's main predator, followed closely by humans. Of course, we're terrible. They're cheaper to hunt than the big five, and their trophy is considered just as impressive. It's still an amazement that any vulnerable species can be hunted legally. Do better, humanity. Do better. Only a few more spins left for this mom zoo, so let's hope we land on some good ones. Oh, ask and ye shall receive. The cheetah. Another big kitty from my Murder Mitten zoo. I have tons of cheetah in cryo storage. Let's freaking go. And for themes, Australia and Australia. Okay, Wheel, I get the hint. I'm so excited for cheetahs. I'm going to be putting them over here by our lions. First, I'm going to be making a viewing house. So I'm going to be making some stairs that break away from the main path and leading up to this area that I will be using the grid to make a perfect standing area here out of path. Then I'm going to be using these rocks to make up the back wall. And yes, I know it is bigger than my lion habitat, who are currently down there breeding like there's no tomorrow and slowly running out of space. I didn't say that when I build a zoo I make sense. Now I'm going to build the viewing house using the Australian theme, which to be fair is one of my favorites, so no complaints really. I'm going to sink in my first piece just below the path. Then I'm going to wrap it all around the whole viewing area. Over on the sides I'm going to be making the keeper entrance, and on top of that I'm going to be using these rusty looking bars to prevent our big kitties from jumping over and chasing our guests. I don't think our guests can run fast enough to keep away from them. To better hide the path, I'm going to be using some of these wedge pieces to line the stairs, and after the wedges are in place, it's easy to fill in the rest of the space with building pieces. Then I'm going to be using this non-grid piece to cover the stairs to make it more look like a ramp. I am still hopeful to one day see strollers and wheelchairs in our next game, but for now I just have to pretend. I am then going to be using these railings to line the whole ramp with, since my ramp is pretty steep. Hey, go up at your own risk, okay? I gave them railings. What more can my guests possibly complain about? Now I'm going to shell out this area that will have glass panels for our viewing window, and this time I'm going to use the do not cross barriers to hopefully keep the guests from clipping through the window. I'm also going to add in a few donation bins, and then I'm going to fit in the glass, add in an animal talk point, and put in some much needed education in here. Then I'm going to be using various decorations to better spruce up the outside of the viewing house, including these pallets that I line with these rusty poles, and I'm going to put those all around to make faux windows. When I was actually in the moment and doing it, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I'm glad that I kept up with it because I really do like what they add to the front of the building. And now we're going to finish off the roof, and I'm going to make it pretty steep so that way I can still add my little sign to the front as well. But first I want to create an overhang. And to do this, you will need to select part of your roof and split it from the group. And then you can duplicate it and have free movement to pull it forward just a little bit to give you a bit of an overhang. And there is our viewing house, and now it is time for the sign. I want to start with a cheetah sign that I will then color yellow, flip it and use it on the other side as well. And for the sign, I'm going to spell out cheetah house and recolor the sign as well. I think it looks pretty good. Now I was a little sad that the cheetah had no spots. And this is where scaling would shine in this game, but we don't have scaling, so I will just have to make do. I'm going to use what looks like a dot for an eye or maybe a period at the end of a sentence, and I'm going to color it black and dot it all around my cheetah. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Now to do that to the other side. Yeah, I love this so much. Look how good that looks. How could you not want to come and check out the cheetah house? Now I have plenty of cheetahs to pick from, and I'm going to pick a boy and a girl and stick them in there and hope they aren't related. And there they are. Oh wow, look how much bigger the male is. Let's make sure they can't escape. Well, they can, but that's an easy fix. Just get more rocks. And there we go. Rocks fix everything. I'm going to add in this shelter that I found in the workshop by this creator here. It is perfect for this habitat. Then I'm going to spend some time and add in our habitat items, mostly in range of the viewing house. I want them to have their food source in a place where the guests will be able to get a good look at them eating. Then I'm going to sink in some rocks along the ridges and dot in some pebbles all around our big boulders. And then I want to try and sink in some of these dry plants all around some of our rocks as well. I'm also going to add in a few big trees to give them some shade during the hot days, and then lots and lots of yellow buffalo grass dotted all around to finish up our newest habitat. I am so proud of myself and how this cheetah viewing house turned out. Have you ever made a viewing house? I would love to hear all about it. And is this habitat for 2 cheetahs bigger than my lion habitat for an entire bride? Maybe. Whoopsie. It is a perfectly imperfect zoo, and that is okay too. I thought about bringing in the back wall of this habitat to make it smaller, but in the end, I didn't want to. Bigger is better. Are you strict with your size requirements for your habitats? What's the most outrageously large habitat you've made just for the heck of it? Cheetahs are the fastest land animal, going from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. Unlike other big cats, they cannot roar. And because they cannot roar, cheetahs communicate using chirps, purrs, hisses, and growls. Their chirping is so high-pitched and loud that you can sometimes hear it from up to a mile away. They also have semi-retractable claws that act like track cleats. Did you know that they also have built-in sunnies? Those iconic black tear marks running from the inside of their eyes down their mouths aren't just for looks. They act like a football player's eye black. It absorbs the sun glares and keeps their vision sharp. I honestly had no idea that's why football players painted the black spots under their eyes. Baby cheetahs are born with long, fluffy manes, the mantle, running down their back. This helps them blend into the tall grass and makes them actually look more like honey badgers, one of the most fearless of animals in the savannah. I don't know how we're gonna top a cheetah, but we're gonna roll at least one more time and see what we get. Oh, and that is how you top a cheetah, the mighty Indian elephant. Okay. Oh, this is definitely going to be the last build for our 100 years because there is no topping an elephant. And for our themes, we're going to be building with Planet Zoo and Indian. Oh, yay! I couldn't have asked for anything more perfect to finish this off with. Let's get started. Oh my gosh, our elephants will need a wee bit of space, don't they? And water, they need water as well. Oh dear. Interspecies enrichment with the Indian peafowl, what? I have those. Surely they wouldn't mind hanging out in the maze with the peafowls, right? Here's our new elephant now. Oh wait, no, that's just another peafowl. We might have a bit of a bird flu pandemic going on right now, and we're just revolving dooring these peafowl in and out of the vet's office. There's our elephant. Oh, they love it. Look at them checking out their new house. Well, there we go. Time for the flyover. Job's done. What? What is with all of that screaming? I can't concentrate. It's just an elephant, you guys. Jeez. Okay, so maybe the maze is not the best idea. I thought it was a swell idea, but no, these guys are crying, screaming, and running away. I mean, she's also pretty unhappy too. Okay, let's go do better. How about here? Does this space look better for them? First, I'm gonna make a fence to keep the guests from jumping down there and cuddling baby elephants. It is going to be really simple. Just a wall piece topped with a floor piece that I'm going to then put some fences on top of and move them more to the center. Then I'm gonna put some decorative tiles on here on the ends that serve no real purpose, but I like the way they look. Then I'm going to merge it all together and just line this area with it. This is going to be where my path is for the guests so they can get a good view of the elephants. In the center, I'm going to sink down this area here to make a bit of a watering area, and I also need to make sure that my water can actually reach where the treatment is. As long as just part of your water is touching the treatment area, the whole thing will be filtered and clean. So I just need to stretch my water over just a little bit. And this is what we're looking like so far. Next, it is time to shell out the elephant house, which is going to be pretty big, so they can all huddle in here if the weather is bad. This is what I have so far for the shell. I am then going to duplicate the walls and sink them down so they are no longer floating over the sculpted terrain. For the door, I'm just going to split this piece from the group, and then I'm going to duplicate it and flip it 180 degrees. Nice and simple. This is what our habitat is looking like so far. Very bare bones. Let's go ahead and add in a waterfall. Oh, she's a bit of a grand waterfall, isn't she? Let's now cover that masterpiece with rocks, shall we? There we go. That looks so much better, doesn't it? Now what about more rocks. Yes, rocks everywhere. It looks so good now. Next, it's time to finish off the elephant house and add the habitat items. And finally, foliage to really finish off this mighty build. Let's maybe get our elephant out of the Peafowl maze and see what they think of their new habitat. Surely they must love it, right? Well, besides the terrain paint, it isn't so bad. And I can fix that easy. Elephants. Who would have thought that we would have ended on such a high note? Did you know that I have never actually built for elephants before? They scare me. I have heard they can bankrupt you as bad as a polar bear. But I must say I prefer building such lush habitats more than barren Arctic lands, that's for sure. That waterfall, it turned out so good. All in all, I'm very happy with this last build. Did you know that Indian elephants' trunks have over 40,000 to 150,000 individual muscle units and 0 bones, letting them pick up tiny blades of grass or lifting heavy logs? Unlike African elephants, Indian elephants have smaller ears shaped just like the map of India. Indian elephants may spend up to 19 hours a day feeding, eating up to 330 pounds of plants every day, and needing to drink fresh water daily. Oh, well, that's why they bankrupt zoos. Mothers carry their babies for an incredible 22 months before they give birth. Oh my god, could you imagine? Baby Indian elephant calves weigh 200 pounds at birth and can stand within 20 minutes, and love to suck on their trunk for comfort, much like a baby sucks on their thumb. That is so cute. I need that animation. We need that animation in the game. Somebody do that. This zoo has made so many lions. I really hope someone gets one of these males that I'm sticking on the market. 25 cc's, that's all I'm asking for. I currently don't need any credits. I just hope that I can help some new player get started. It kinda sucks when people put those big ticket items on the market for outrageous prices. So when you start off, it takes forever to get something cool that you want to breed. There's only so many peafowl and capybaras that you can breed before you crave a lion, a tiger, or a bear. Oh my. Let me know if you got one of these lions from Pandora's Box. That is my franchise. I'm very interested to know. As we roll over to year 100 in the zoo, we take a last look at our stats. The zoo made almost 80,000 in profits last year, which isn't too bad considering a large pride of lions, a handful of cheetahs, and a family of elephants we are now housing. We hit over $10 million in the zoo. $10 million! That's crazy! Our most appealing habitat animal is of course the mighty king African lion, and our most appealing exhibit animal is still crowned with the spectacled flying fox. Our vets have finished up all the research for every species that has entered this zoo, and what more could we honestly ask of them? I also finished off this zoo with 43 species and absolutely no work zones whatsoever. Do I recommend that? Absolutely not. But I'm glad I did it. For science! The guests are moderately happy with the little green smiley face down here. Could they use more food and drink stalls? Always. Am I gonna give it to them? Heck no. I don't want to have to add even more trash cans than I already have. Bunch of dirty whiners. We have 5 stars across the whole zoo, and with that, I am content with how far this mom zoo has gone this time around. Let's take that one last flyover, shall we? You made it! Or I should say, we made it to the end of another 100 years in another Menagerie of Mayhem zoo. Is it perfect? Far from it. But it's mine, and it's made with love and a dash of chaotic humor. My dream is for all the animals to be under one zoo, but alas, since my computer doesn't like that idea, I just have to settle for a bunch of not-so-tiny zoos under one name, Mom, which is by far my favorite title that I've earned. As we take one last glide over this crazy creation, we are reminded of how it all started. Beavers. Yes, that's right, just a beaver. And now look how we ended. A family of elephants. I'm still slightly sad that I never rolled anything that could share our Quokka walk with anyone, but hey, they get to live out their tiny little lives in a massive enclosure made just for them. 43 species now calls this place home, and I couldn't be more happy with how the zoo turned out. Yes, I was more than a little hesitant when the wheel demanded that we build on a sculpted map, but I was up for the challenge. I tried to minimize my terraforming as much as I could, but sometimes you just gotta flatten the foundation, you know? You know, that would be a challenge in and of itself. A sculpted map with no terraforming allowed? Oof. I had enough of a challenge with deciding that this was going to be the playthrough that I decided not to use work zones. Not one of my brighter decisions, I tell you. Does it work? Technically, yes, it does. But I can't even tell you how many times I had alerts flying left and right telling me habitats were left dirty or vets hadn't even visited them in years. Luckily, since I mostly used my own fences, the maintenance team didn't get a good scolding from our googly-eyed manager Bison. This time. Leaving yourself work zone lists does work for when your zoo is small, but once you get to this size, or before, really, like maybe 20 species in, do yourself a favor and set up those work zones. I find that one trained keeper and vet for every 3-ish habitats works best. Unless it's a bird. Oh boy, then you need 5 vets and a dedicated hospital just for them. Goodness, they were always sick. But I can't help but love them. My little penguin build is among one of my favorites this go around. How could you not love these little guys? And by the end, I had so many of them, it was so cute seeing them all walk in a line to their food bowl. What was your favorite build this time? And if any of my builds inspired you for your zoo, I definitely want to hear all about it. I do try and respond to every comment, but just know that if I don't, I most definitely read and heart everything. I love talking with you guys, and I'm so proud of the little community that we have built on this side of the internet. I can't help but thank each and every one of you that tune into my crazy shenanigans week after week. When I made the switch to Planet Zoo content, I only had about 600 subscribers, and now we just passed 17,000. I can't even comprehend that amount of eyeballs on this channel. I am in awe of all of you and your continued positivity and support. You held me up through one of the roughest patches in my life this year, and I can honestly tell you that it's because of you that I kept moving forward. I'm gonna cry. I love you guys so much, and I'm going to take some time now to work on playing through the campaign of Planet Zoo, making it a bit tutorial-y for those of you that are new to the game, or for those of you that have gotten stuck on some of those late game missions, because I know some of those are really hard. I'm going to be here to help you with those though, don't worry. That'll keep me free to keep covering all the news drops from Frontier on Planet Zoo 2. They are coming at us pretty fast and quick now with all of those, and I want to keep myself available to cover those whenever they drop. Something new and exciting for us. Those are my plans moving forward. The wheel will be coming with me to Planet Zoo 2, don't worry, and I most definitely will be using it to help recreate something crazy in that game as well. I can't expect myself to make those kind of decisions all on my own after all. There's just too many choices. Links to the species wheel and the theme wheel are in the description box below and the pinned comment. Go grab it and try it for yourself if, like me, you are overwhelmed with the amount of decisions, leaving you paralyzed and choosing to close the game instead of relaxing and having fun. Also, I have uploaded the zoo to the workshop, so have fun filling that up for yourselves and creating those perfect work zones. That right there is a challenge in and of itself. Now I'm going to stop yammering on now and enjoy the rest of this flyover and the time-lapse of how the zoo has grown at the end. If you made it to the end, leave an emoji of your favorite animal in the comments section. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hang out again, and I will see you on the next build. Bye! Oh my gosh, I am so ready to be Dominic Myers Employee of the Month. I mean, he really does grow on you. Like a fungus.